7.5 games behind the New York Mets in the National League East. The Mets traveled to Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the Cubs took 3 out of 4 from New York to increase their position in the National League Eastern Division race. Then it was on to Pittsburgh and Three Rivers Stadium, where in the first game, Monday night, the Pirates won to cut the Mets lead to 3.5. And then last night, before only the second sellout in the history of this ballpark, the power hitting of Darryl Strawberry, who had a 2-run home run off loser Brian Fisher to win the ball game for New York, coupled with 8 innings of 3-hit baseball from left-hander Sid Fernandez, got the Mets lead back to 4.5 games over the Pirates. Tonight, it's the third and final game of this big series in Pittsburgh, which is rejuvenated behind their Bucks and trail the Mets by 4.5 going into the series finale. Coming up next, right here on WWOR-TV. From Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, it's Mets Baseball 88. As tonight, the Mets take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Mets Baseball 88 is brought to you this evening by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. By Manufacturers Hanover, the financial source worldwide. By Nissan Cars and Trucks, built for the most important race of all, the human race. By the 9X Yellow Pages. If it's out there, it's in here. By the Good Olds Guys, your New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut Oldsmobile dealers. By the New York Daily News, New York's hometown paper. And by the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages, the one that works. Pitching for the Mets tonight, right-hander David Cone, 9-1 with an ERA of 1.79. And on the mound for the Pirates, it's right-hander Bob Walk, who's 8-4 with an ERA of 2.35.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Steve Zabriskie and Tim McCarver. And the Mets all set for their final game of this road trip. It didn't start well, as they lost 3 out of 4 to the Cubs. The first game was lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Davy Johnson shook up his lineup, changed it all the way around, and the Mets came back to win. But that might not work here tonight, because we have 2 pitchers, Tim, that are really pitching well. Bob Walk, who broke into the major leagues winning 6 straight, and then his first World Series start, went back to the minor leagues, but this year 8-4, and he has held the opposition to a .202 batting average.
Similar stories, really, with the right-hander David Cone. His first 7 appearances this year in the bullpen, and he's had 10 starts in a row. He's 9-1, and where would the Mets be without David Cone?
Boy, he has done some sort of job. There's no doubt about it, and you'll be looking at a fine performance out here tonight, right after we hear from Busch Beer.
Anybody's game. Good all. Get some.
Hitting in the ninth. Good all.
I thought you were best at sitting.
That's right. Guess I gotta save you.
Don't stay out in the sun too long.
Your best deserves the best.
Bud Light?
The less filling light beer with a first name and taste.
Tough day.
Well, Bob Walk on the mound, better known as Whirlybird to his teammates. Walk with a record of 8-4 and home run average at 2.35. He's 6th in the National League in that department. He has appeared in 15 games, all as a starting pitcher. 1 complete game, 1 shutout. He has worked 103 1/3 innings, giving up only 77 hits, 1 of them a home run, walking 31 and striking out 42. Bob Walk, 3-3 lifetime against the Mets.
And the lineup for the Mets, Len Dykstra, the center fielder, leading off, followed by Wally Backman, the second baseman. Kevin McReynolds, the left fielder, hitting third. As Ralph said in the opening, the Mets changing their lineup, starting with last night's lineup, putting McReynolds in third in the 3rd spot. Strawberry, of course, sitting 4th. Howard Johnson's moved up to the number 5 spot and will play 3rd base. Gary Carter remains in the number 6 spot. Dave Magadan, formerly hitting third in the old lineup, is now batting seventh and playing first. Kevin Elster in his familiar eighth spot to shortstop, and David Cohn on the mound batting ninth.
And the defense for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it's Bream at first, I should say for the New York Mets. As you look at it on the screen there, we'll go back to the Pirate defense. It's Bream at first base. Lane will be at second. Belliard will be at shortstop. Bonilla will be at third. In the outfield, Bonds in left field, Van Slyke in center field, and Coles in right. The catcher, Lavalier, and on the mound, Bob Walk. The umpires for this game, Charlie Williams behind home plate, Tom Hallion, the umpire at first base, Paul Runge at second base, and Bob Engel, the umpire at third. Pirates having a 5-game winning streak stopped last night, with the Mets winning last night by a score of 5-2. And the Mets on this road trip have won just 2 of the 6 games played. The final game here tonight, and then the Mets return home to Shea Stadium. Lenny Dykstra will lead it off. Dykstra hitting .309 with 3 home runs, 14 runs batted in, and the first pitch fouled off. Lenny in his last 21 ball games hitting .363.
First 3 for New York.
Walk lifetime has won 49 and lost 38. And he has given up only 1 home run all year, and that to a right-hand batter, Hubie Brooks. This ball hit in the air to left field. Barry Bonds is right there. 1 away. Walk last year had a record of 8-2. And this year he has a record of 8-4. His last start against the Expos was on June 24th. 8 innings pitched. And he is now working to Wally Backman.
Jim Leland had a great line about Bob Walk. He said, to show you how smart I am, it took me 1.5 years to start him.
He's had a strange career as Backman hits it foul down the left side. Backman hitting .286 with no home runs, 8 runs batted in. He hit the major league scene with a bang, 6 straight victories, and pitched the first game of the World Series against Kansas City and was a winning pitcher in that game. And then from there on, it went downhill. Back in the minor leagues and now back with Pittsburgh. And with Pittsburgh last year 8-2 and this year 8-4. So his last decisions have been 16 wins and 6 losses. One ball, 1 strike to Backman, and the fastball for ball 2. Backman has hit in 12 of his last 14 games and has hit .400 over that period to raise his average to .286. He's hitting .417 against Pittsburgh this year. Ball again, 2-2. Walk has been known to go to the plate without a bat. He also has gone to the pitcher's mound without a glove.
Ergo, Whirlybird.
Whirlybird. Ground ball to the shortstop, Belliard, and the throw to first base to Bream. 2 men away.
Well, that's what Pete Rose said about Bob. Pete was a teammate of Walk's back in 1980, and Pete was one of the guys who tagged Walk with that nickname. And Pete said when he was facing him later on in the 80s that he had no idea. He said he was the toughest right-hander to face because he had no idea as far as his consistency in the strike zone was concerned.
That'll bring up Kevin McReynolds, and he throws the first pitch in there for a called strike. Kevin hitting .268 for the year. 8 home runs, 35 runs batted in. Kevin with a weak-looking swing at that off-speed pitch, and the count strike 2. McReynolds yesterday, batting third, was 0 for 4. Hitting .222 against Pittsburgh this year, and there's one out to center field. Van Slyke comes over and makes a play, and the Mets go in order. The score at the end of 1/2 inning, the Mets nothing, Pittsburgh coming up. Now here's a word from the 9X Yellow Pages. David Cohn on the mound for the Mets with a record of 9-1, an earned run average of 1.79, second in the National League. He has worked 17 games to this game And he has walked 37, struck out 88 while giving up only 67 hits and 95 in the third innings. The opposition has hit 199 against him this year, and he has no record ever against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
And here's the lineup for the Pirates. Barry Bonds, the left fielder, leading off, followed by Jose Lind, the second baseman. Andy Van Slyke, the center fielder, hitting third, and Bobby Bonilla, what a year he is having, third baseman batting fourth. Darnell Coles in right field hitting fifth. Sid Bream, the first baseman, batting sixth. Mike LaValliere behind the plate hitting seventh. Rafael Belliard, the shortstop, hitting eighth. And Bob Walk on the mound batting ninth.
And behind David Cohn, the Mets will have Magadan at first base. Backman playing second, Elster at shortstop, Johnson at third. McReynolds in left field, Dykstra in center, and Strawberry in right. His catcher will be Carter. And the first batter for the Pirates will be Barry Bonds. Bonds 0 for 7 in this series. Overall hitting .290 in the year with 14 home runs, 25 runs batted in. And 4 times this year he has led off a ball game with a home run. And he takes the first pitch for ball one. Bonds has had 8 leadoff home runs in his major league career. His daddy, Bobby Bonds, holds the all-time record of 35. And this ball fouled off to the left side. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bonds in his last 18 ball games hitting .351. And Cohn again with a fastball, 2 balls, 1 strike. Last start against the Cubs on the 24th. Winning pitcher in that ball game, and that fastball missed.
That was the only game the Mets won in Chicago last Friday, winning that game 8-3. Cubs have moved right back into contention with their hot streak. They're 6 games out.
This ball hit the deep center field, way back. Dykstra to the wall, and he makes the catch. Does he hold on to it? He does. Lenny Dykstra winning his battle with the center field fence. He might have been down, but he was not out.
91 seconds for Michael Spinks. About that long for Len Dykstra to go down. Watch this play by Dykstra. It's tough at this time of the night. Dykstra, a tough time seeing the ball. He doesn't really know where the wall is. Reaches up, slams into the wall, smiles as he's going down. Now, in that respect, he's quite different from Michael Spinks. Unbelievable.
So the great play by Dykstra with some dramatics tossed in and one away as Jose Lind comes to the plate. Lind takes his first pitch for strike 1. His second, a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Lind hitting .242 with 1 home run, 27 runs batted in. And Cohn's fastball missing. 2-1. Lind is 2 for 7 in this series. He's the only man in the major leagues to have played every inning this year. As a matter of fact, as he fouls off the next pitch, he has played every inning, every game that he has been in the major leagues. It all started back on August 29th, 1987. And he is starting his 111th game since he took over for Johnny Ray at second. And the fastball fouled away, so the count will stay.
Johnny Ray traded to the California Angels last August 28th.
And the fastball is missed, so Lind struck out as Cohn gets his first strikeout, 2 men away.
Boy, good moving, hopping fastball on the outside corner.
So with 2 men away, David Cohn will work to Andy Van Slyke. Van Slyke 1 for 7 in this series, hitting .288 for the year with 11 home runs, 52 runs batted in. He is 4th in the National League in runs batted in. He leads the National League in 3 base hits. He has 11. A big number in his numerical range right at this point. 11 stolen bases, 11 3-base hits, 11 home runs. Good fastball. Slyke voted the most popular player for the Pirates last year and the most valuable player for the Pirates. He rips this one down the right field line. It is curving foul. Andy Van Slyke, known as Slick. A word that Casey Stengel used many, many times about ball players. Anybody that was clever or did something that was mentally on the plus side, he used to call him a slick player.
If he didn't know their names.
Well, he never knew anybody's name. He used to call Lindsey Nelson, Bob Murphy, and me my broadcasters.
He was safe in that respect.
That's right. 2-2 the count. And he got him. Split finger fastball. And 2 strikeouts in the inning and a 1-2-3 inning. The score at the end of 1, the Mets nothing, the Pirates nothing. Now here's a word from Exxon. On the mound for the Pirates, pitching to Darryl Strawberry, and Strawberry, a man who has walked so many times this year. First pitch, a fastball swung on and missed. Darryl has had 11 walks in his last 8 games, and he's had 19 walks, 7 intentional in his last 18 games. He's hitting .290. And he is tied for the league lead in home runs with 18, and he has 48 runs batted in. 2 strikes to count. Strawberry is second in the league in slugging percentage at .585, and he is second in on-base average at .397. 2 home runs against the Pirates this year. And Darryl with a total of 21 home runs career-wise against the Pirates. Home run in last night's ball game, the game-winning RBI. And the fastball is low, and it's 2-2. Darryl is 2 for 7 in this series. 2 hits in last night's ball game after staying up the night before for the birth of his daughter.
Diamond Nicole Strawberry.
That's
you gotta
a great
love it.
name.
Diamond Nicole Strawberry. My goodness, what a beautiful name.
So Darryl hitting a home run on her birth date, and just prior to that, he hit a home run on his son's 3rd birthday.
Sparkling.
Got him. So walk, strikes out Strawberry.
Good fastball from Bob Walk. Right in on the hands, and that ball just hugs the inside corner. Tails back, good pitch. Charlie Williams ringing him up. Darryl knew it. He didn't argue.
And that'll bring up Howard Johnson, batting 5th in the batting order. Last night he batted 5th. Had a home run and a single and 5 at-bats. Hitting .240 for the year. 13 home runs, 34 runs batted in. He takes a strike. Johnson hitting .323 over his last 8 games. He is tied for 9th in home runs with 13 and also is 9th in walks with 40. And the high fastball is missed. Strike 2. Mets are 3rd in the league in hitting at .259. They lead the league in home runs with 67, and they're 3rd in runs scored with 329. They lead almost all the important departments in pitching. And another strikeout. So Bob Walk matches David Cone, picks up his 2nd strikeout.
The hitters will usually tell a pitcher what kind of stuff he has. Watch this swing by Johnson. That is a nasty curveball right there.
That'll bring up Gary Carter. Carter hitting .255. He has 8 home runs, 31 runs batted in.
Should say the hitters will tell a pitcher what kind of stuff he's got.
Carter's had only 1 home run since April 26th. He's in quest of his 300th. The fastball inside. Walk will throw at you. a tough pitcher on the mound. 2 balls,
I don't know whether this was intentional. However.
No, I don't think it would be, but he has a reputation of pitching inside.
Show me a losing pitcher who doesn't have a reputation of pitching inside, unless you're a specialty pitcher like Bruce Sutter or somebody like that. All the good ones pitch inside.
3-0 to Carter, hitting 133 against the Pirates this year. 2 for 15. Fastball and a strikeout. And a fastball hit to right field, a chase by Coles, and he makes a diving catch, and a great one. Darnell Coles with a great play. So the inning is over, 6 in a row, helped out by Cole on the catch for Bob Walk. And the score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Mets nothing, the Pirates nothing. Here's a word from manufacturers. On a scale of 1 to 10, this has to be about a 9.5 as one of the great catches of the year. Darnell Coles taking an extra base hit away from Gary Carter. There have been 2 outstanding catches in this game and no hits as a result of Dykstra and Coles. And coming in here now for the play-by-play, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralph, Bobby Bonilla from the Bronx is the batter. Bobby up there in almost every offensive category in the National League. 2nd in total bases, 3rd in RBIs, 4th in on-base percentage, and slugging. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Bobby also 5th in home runs. He had his first home run against the Mets ever in last night's game, and that rounds it out. He has now homered at least once against every National League opponent. Ball 2, 2-1. No score, bottom of the 2nd.
Had 15 home runs last year for his all-time high, and he has 16 this year.
Grounded, foul. 2-2. Ooh, good play. Outstanding. Ooh. Nothing to it.
Watch this play by the ball girl down there, and she made a outstanding play.
Is that a girl or a guy?
I think it's a girl.
I can't tell. He got me.
Yeah, they really looked close, and I'm still not sure.
Bonilla broke his bat. The Pirates lead the National League in runs. As you look at David Cohn, 333.
We have solved the problem. It is going to be a ball person out
That
there,
does
Tim.
not solve the problem. No.
Well, that's what Steve tried to put over.
Deep to right center. Back is Dykstra. This ball is out of here. Home run number 17 for Bobby Bonilla. 1-0 Pittsburgh.
The ballpark right-handed last night. Now he does it left-handed, and there's no doubt about it. His 17th home run. That is the 3rd home run given up by Cohn this year. And last year, Bonilla became the first Pirate ever to hit a home run in one game left-handed and right-handed.
He did it twice last year. Darnell Coles takes a breaking ball outside. 1 ball, no strikes to Coles. The other home runs given up by Cohn. UB Brooks back on April 4th, opening day, as this one hit hard to Elster, and he throws out Cohn. Damon Berryhill with the other home run at the top of the 10th inning. Damon, the catcher for the Cubs, that was back on June 2nd.
That put the Cubs up 1-0 in that ball game. Cohn twice has gone 10 innings this year. This ball's hit very hard at Elster. He really fights it off as he stays in front of it, comes up to make the catch, and then throws over the first. Mets went on to win that game that Cohn gave up the home run to Berryhill.
Both of Cohn's 10-inning games have ended up as no decisions. David's 7-1 as a starter. Sid Bream takes a curveball high. One hit in this ball game. Bobby Bonilla's 17th home run. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. So Bream pokes one up the middle. The Mets have a tough time with Sid Bream. He loves to extend those arms.
He was up last night as a pinch hitter and didn't get a hit. That stopped his 9-game hitting streak. But with this hit here, he has hit in 10 of his last 11 games.
You're watching Mets Baseball 88 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. 1-0 Pirates. Sid Bream at first and Mike LaValliere the batter. LaValliere 3 for his last 33 over a 12-game period. And Cohn falling behind all 4 hitters in this inning. Mike batting .254 on the year, but he is in a slide. We'll see if Jim Leland puts the hit and run on here. Good time for it. Bream not running. Bounded to Magadan, who goes to Elster, back to first. Double play. A 3-6-3 nifty double play pulled off by Magadan and Elster. But the Pirates score a run. It's 1-0 after 2. We're back after this from Nissan.
You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it, I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
Bob Walk has retired 6 straight Mets. He has a 1-0 lead here in the top of the 3rd. And Dave Magadan, the batter. Dave batting .285 on the year. His only home run coming against Barry Jones of the Pirates. Strike 1. Walk staying ahead of the hitters for the most part. 0-1 to Magadan. Tapper is foul. 0-2.
Would this be an oxymoron? Walk has good control?
Yeah. Oxymoronic statement. That is kind of a tough name to be tagged with if you're a pitcher, right?
I'd rather be called Striker.
Early Win.
Or Early Win.
Jim Wynn, a pitcher used to pitch for the Pirates. As a matter of fact, inside fastball. A ball and 2 strikes to Magadan.
Herb Score.
Yeah. Foul ball down the left field line. Still 1-2 to Magadan. Bobby Bonilla's 17th home run of the year. The only run scored in this game. The Pirates with 2 hits, the Mets with none. Mets 4.5 games out in front of the Pirates. The Chicago Cubs lost today to the Phillies, so they're 6.5 back now. Check swing fouled away, and the Mets leave for New York after the game tonight, and they have a big 5-game series against the Houston Astros. Thursday night at 7:35, Danny Darwin against Bobby Ojeda. That's tomorrow night. Then a big doubleheader Friday night. We'll have it here on WWOR. 5:35 New York time. Jim Deshaies and Mike Scott against Ron Darling and probably Rick Aguilera, even though that decision has not been made yet. Then Saturday, Joaquin Andujar against Dwight Gooden and Bob Nepper against Sid Fernandez on Sunday. 3-2 to Magadan. Joaquin Andujar, who says that somebody in baseball is out to get him. Somebody big in baseball. so that leaves us out. I cannot wait to see Joaquin Andujar and ask him how he came to that conclusion. They fined him for throwing close to Tony Pena. Bart Giamatti fined him $200. Fined him, I think, again. Magadan draws a walk. A good at bat by Dave Magadan with the count 0-2. He coaxes a walk out of walk. And Kevin Elster, the batter. Joaquin, a character.
He is a character. I think he fits the description. We have seen the enemy, and they are us.
Certainly since the 1985 series. That last game, a game in which the Cardinals lost 11-0 to Kansas City. And a display that I'm sure if Joaquin had to do over again would probably think through it and say, I might do something differently. Breaking ball is low to Elster. 1 ball, no strikes. Now we'll see if Sam Perlazo just put the hit and run on. Magadan at first, nobody out. 1-0 Pittsburgh. We're in the third. Nope, Magadan's not running, and the fastball is high. 2-0. Foul, 2-1. Kevin may have broken his bat, and it appears that he did.
I wonder if that's the one he took to bed with him.
Can you believe that? Monday night, after Monday night's game, a game in which the Mets stranded, what, 13 runners?
13.
And lost 2-1.
And he broke his bat on that foul ball.
Wally Backman, Kevin Elster, and Howard Johnson took their bats home with them. And Hojo and Elster and Backman slept with their beds, with their bats, and even took them to breakfast yesterday morning. This game can turn you a little topsy-turvy.
Listen, it worked. He hit a home run.
So did Hojo last night.
Hojo hit a home run. Backman got a couple of hits, although Backman says he never took his bat to bed.
Oh.
But he said he was going to last night. And he said if he went 3 for 3 today, he says, my wife might have to sleep on the couch from now on.
Wife Margie, huh?
But I asked him tonight, I said, did you take your bat to bed with you? He says, no, I didn't. I left it in the room, but I didn't take it to bed with me. So, Margie, you still got a place.
2-1 to Elster. Low, ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. You know, the thing about Johnson's bat is that it's got pine tar all over it. Now, if you put it on a white sheet, you can imagine the maid coming in the next morning and say, what, my goodness, what's going on here? Pine tar.
That'd be a first.
Might be a last, too.
That maid might have quit. You expect me to clean that pine tar off of these sheets? All players are go to any means to break a slump.
Generally speaking, there's an extra charge in the dining room for sharing a meal also. I wonder if they were charged with that when they had their bats at breakfast. Yes. More like bats in the belfry than bats for breakfast. Heard of Wimbledon, breakfast at Wimbledon, but never bats in breakfast. Magadan not running. Fastball is a strike. 3-2. Now you can look for Magadan to go. 1-0 Pittsburgh, top of 3.
The reason why a runner moving on this count, 3-2, and with the 8th batter up is a good reason to run. Try to get some motion into it so you might pick up a base hit for the end of the batting order.
There goes Magadan. Fastball is fouled away. So it's still 3-2. Dave retreats to first. Bob from Van Nuys, California. He's 30 years old, and he is the only Pirate that's 30 or more. All of the other Pittsburgh Pirates are less than 30. To show you how unusual that is, the Mets have 7 players over 30 years old. So this is certainly a young Pirate team. There goes Magadan. Fastball, foul back again. So we'll do it once again, Dave. There's Wally Backman with his trusty business partner. Lenny Dykstra, the same. Dykstra look-alike contest next Wednesday afternoon at a delicatessen in New York City. I cannot wait for that either.
You're going to be a judge, right?
Yep. Cousin Brucey and I. It's going to be a real thrill to meet Cousin Brucey. I've heard so much about him. There goes Magadan. Deep to left field is Elster. Back is Bonds. This ball is out of here. Home run, Kevin Elster. And the Mets lead it 2-1. There might be more beds sharing bats before too very long. His second home run in 2 nights. Wow.
2 home runs and 4 at bats, and it all came about after Kevin Elster instigated the plot to take your favorite bat back to the hotel room and take it to bed. There's the fastball right here. And it is out of here. And Steve Zabrisky's got a great line here. Pirates should let sleeping bats lie.
See, there's David Cohn single through the middle. Oh, Stevie boy, what a great line. Stevie's saying once again that Pirates should let sleeping bats lie. I love it. Nice going.
David Cohn gets his 6th hit of the year, and he's becoming quite a hitter.
The Mets pitching staff, quite a hitting core, as a matter of fact. Think about it. Bob Walk didn't give up a home run until Hubie Brooks homered June 25th. And his last 2 outings, he's given up home runs. Kevin Elster with his 6th of the season. Here's Dykstra. And a bunt is foul. That looked like the straight sacrifice. Lenny will square around often and then whack it past Bobby Bonilla at third. That's a design play. He tries to do that on fastballs away.
Bonilla in on top of him about 80 feet away.
Looks like a straight sacrifice again. And Bobby Bonilla keeps closing in. So we'll see if Lenny tries to whack one by Bobby.
Now the count's in favor of him hitting away because you figure the pitcher, thinking you're bunting, will come in with a fastball.
Caught the corner. Lenny questioning Charlie Williams. A ball and 2 strikes to Dykstra. Nobody out. Sid Bream behind David Cohn at first base. 2-1 New York. We're in the 3rd. Fouled away. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes to Len Dykstra. Ball lifted to shallow center. In is Andy Van Slyke. And he squeezes it. 1 out. That'll bring Wally Backman to the plate. Wally grounded sharply to shortstop, and Bob Walk wants to talk to his catcher. Mike LaValliere. LaValliere, a very conscientious young man behind the plate, coming over in that heralded 3-for-1 trade last spring, a trade in which Mike Dunn and Andy Van Slyke and Mike LaValliere came to the Pirates from the Cardinals for Tony Pena. Wants the fastball. And it's outside and low. A lot of pitchers will shake off catchers. Some pitchers opt to stare off catchers. They just don't go into their stretch until the sign comes down that they want. Fastball. Backman had an idea about bunting. He takes for ball 2, 2-0.
You got to love David Cohn out there, Tim, on a rather cool evening there in Pittsburgh. Home without a jacket.
There's a lot to like about David Cohn, and that's one of them.
That might be the most important thing as far as you're concerned. Not that he can be 9-1.
Ball 3. Now that's an idea. Walk throwing the ball on the artificial surface. You're not supposed to do that. That could actually scuff the ball.
That is true. And if you're a hitter, you could ask for that ball to be checked out.
Sure. But that's Bob for you. There's a strike. 3 balls and 1 strike. Hit deep to left field. It's going to curve foul, however. Backman giving it a ride. Wally, unusually strong to left field. Pound for pound, we've talked about it before, he can really drive the ball the other way.
He's really come back after a very slow start to get his average up to a very respectable 286.
Batting .400 in his last 14 games. He has really been hitting the ball sharply. 2-2 to make that 3-2 to Wally. Little looper, left field, base hit, Backman. That's the 3rd hit of the inning. And the Mets have runners at first and second. Only 1 away, and the batter, Kevin McReynolds.
Well, the Mets were set down in order in the first 2 innings, but a walk started it for the Mets. Magadan working out a walk, a 2-run home run by Elster. Cohn then single, and after an out, Paulie Backman follows with a single.
Looks like Ray Miller, the pitching coach. He and Jim Leyland have similar walks, and when they have their jacket on, it's very difficult to tell whether it's Leyland or Miller.
Side by side, it's very easy to tell because Leyland is very thin.
And, of course, Jim has a mustache, and Ray Miller, formerly the pitching coach with the Baltimore Orioles, the manager of the Minnesota Twins, does not have a mustache. Jeff Robinson, Jim Gott going to the bullpen. And the Mets are hoping to get into the bullpen early, because if you wait until late to get to Gott and Robinson, you have your hands full. They have really done the job for Leland's Pirates. Curveball is high to McReynolds. Kevin fly to center is first at bat.
Relief pitchers have a record of 12-7 with 18 saves for the Pirates. The starters are 31-26.
Throw to first, and I'll tell you, Bream held on. They got a shot at Backman. That was close, even though he did drop the ball.
Well, the most important job for a first base coach is to let you know when that first baseman is coming in from behind you. That is his total responsibility. You cannot see him.
Right. A lot of first base coaches, the minute the first baseman breaks, they'll break toward the bag to alert you. High, ball 2 to McReynolds, 2-0. If you're the runner at first, you kind of look out of the corner of your eye at the first base coach, and if he moves, you move back. Grounder toward third. Bonilla to lean back to first. Bad throw. Good play by Backman going in hard to lean. David Cohn stops at third. The Mets have runners at first and third now with 2 outs.
I don't believe they could have got a double play. Bonilla makes a good throw to lean at second. Perfect throw, but a very bad throw, but they would not have gotten a double play with a good throw.
So you have an interesting situation here. Darryl Strawberry, the batter. Runners at first and third and 2 outs. I doubt that they'll give in to him. Jim Leland walked Strawberry in the series at Shea last Tuesday night with runners at first and third and 1 out. Popped up in foul territory and playable. Bobby Bonilla makes the play. The Mets take the lead with 2 runs on 3 hits, Strand 2. After 2.5, 2-1 New York. And we're back after this from the American Dairy Association. Sid Fernandez ought to be happy. He's down in the bullpen, I believe. Yep. And Sid winning his 4th game in last night's ball game, a big game for the Mets to stop the plundering and pillaging of the Pirates. They had won 5 in a row. And this young man right there, I say young because he is young as far as managers go, but he has really earned the respect, I think, of everybody in baseball, Ralph. He is a solid manager.
Jim Leland, a fiery competitor, was the manager for Joe McIlvaine, who heads the Mets system.
He was the manager of Joe McIlvaine when Joe was a pitcher for Clinton, Iowa back in 1973 as Rafael Belliard takes strike 1. Split finger fastball is low, 1-1. That's what the Mets try to get Belliard to do, hit the ball in the air the other way. He does not have a lot of power, only 2 extra base hits this year. Ball and 2 strikes. To the pizza man, that's what the Pirates call him. This man will eat pizza 365 days of the year. That's what he would prefer to do.
Why isn't he fat?
I mean, it's unbelievable. Weighs 150 pounds, eats pizza every day. Did he go too far? Certainly didn't get a pizza. It's 2-2 to Belliard.
He got the game-winning RBI against the Mets in the first game of the series against Dwight Gooden.
You know, I was talking to Rafi, 3-2 to Belliard. I was talking to him. He told me his father-in-law had a pizza place in Santiago in the Dominican Republic 2 years ago. They closed it down, however. That's where he
ate up all the
probably ate up all the profits, right? He and Jose Lind are the 2 big pizza eaters on the Pirates Club. Certainly doesn't show. Still 3-2 to Belliard.
Yeah, Jose's very lean.
New York, bottom of the 3rd inning. David Cohn trying for his 10th win of the year. Outside. So Belliard draws the first walk of the ball game issued by Cohn, and Bob Walk will be up there to bunt.
That's a bad walk right there because you do it ahead of the pitcher where you can use the pitcher in a productive situation by having him bunt.
Here's Bob. third, and the throw to first. Belliard diving back. Gene Lamont, the third base coach. And the bunt is a good one. Magadan wanted Cone to field it, and now he comes over to make the play. Indecision there, but they recovered in a hurry, and the sacrifice successful.
Almost a big mistake there by Magadan, but he picked it up at the last second. Pitcher should never be in a position to field this ball. It's got to be the first baseman's shot. In fact, the ball was bunted hard enough that you might have had to play at second.
If you go after it right away, yeah.
Right away.
So Belliard at second base. One out, and the batter Barry Bonds, who fly deep to center in the first inning. Fine play by Lynn Dykstra to haul it in. Outside, ball one.
Bonds has good power, and the Mets outfield playing him shallow. Something that you like to see, because the Mets have a tendency to play their outfield deep, very deep.
Good play by Carter. Oh, boy. 2 balls, no strikes to Bonds. Outfield about straight away. Misses. Ball 3. So we'll see if Bonds is swinging here.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you got to be very careful here, because Bonds could be hitting away, and you have a very light hitter coming up next.
He looked like he was swinging. The fastball is low. That's the second walk of the inning issued by Cone. And here's Jose Lind, the second baseman. I would imagine Gary is telling David to watch Belliard at second base, even though Belliard has 1 stolen base. The Mets lead the major leagues in stolen bases against them. The opposition has stolen 103 so far this year. High, ball 1. 5 in a row by Cone. There's Strawberry, however. He's back. He makes the play. Belliard will go to third. And there are 2 outs. A .335 hitter against right-handed pitching, and batting only .202 against left-handers. So he is quite a formidable out against right-handers. Curveball is high. He struck out his first at bat. Ball and no strikes to Van Slyke. The Pirates with runners in first and third. 2 outs, 2-1 New York. We're in the third inning. Ball 2. Fly ball, left field and deep, but McReynolds is there, and he makes the play. No runs, no hits, no errors. The 2 walks really not damaging to David Cone, and he has a 2-1 lead after 3. We're back after this from Busch Beer. It's a funny game. Both pitchers tonight, Cone and Walk, gave up only 3 home runs in over 200 innings, and all the scoring tonight largely due to home runs. And here's Steve Zabriskie. How you doing, pal?
Great, Timmy.
All right. What a beautiful night, isn't it?
It is really quite pleasant. A little cooler than we've been used to where we have been lately. Howard Johnson leads it off here in the 4th inning. New York leading 2-1. Mojo struck out his first time up. Gary Carter and Dave Magadan to follow. Off-speed pitch is in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Breaking ball low, 2-1. Howard's been streaky, and he's been on a good streak lately. It's sort of been feast or famine for Johnson this year, but over the last 8 he's hit .323 with 3 home runs. Fouled back into the screen, and the count 2-2. That streak came to a rather abrupt end, as you mentioned earlier. Off-speed pitch gets him. Strikeout number 3 for Walk, and 2 of them have been Howard Johnson. 1 out. Well, tonight's game being brought to you in part by your Lincoln Mercury dealers and by RC Cola. Some people go out of their way for the taste of RC. 1 out, nobody on for Gary Carter, who was robbed of an extra base hit on a diving catch in the right field corner by Darnell Cole. Strike 1.
Ralph said it was one of the better catches we've seen this year, and I think he's right. One reason, the ball was tailing away from Coles toward the line, and had that ball gotten by him, it would at least have been a triple. For somebody who could have run better than Gary, it may have been an inside the park home run, because there's no way for Van Slyke to get over to back that play up.
And all you need, if Coles, whom you see there, had missed that ball, would be some kind of a crazy carom in the corner to where he couldn't recover.
Right.
And Carter might even have been able to go all the way around. Low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Carter still looking for that 300th career home run. 2-2. Breaking ball hit high and deep to left, but not deep enough. Bonds hardly has to move, and there are 2 out. Barry had him played perfectly. And that'll bring up Dave Magadan, who walked and scored in the 3rd inning, scoring ahead of Kevin Elster's home run. I think you're right. If this continues with Elster and Johnson and Backman hitting, there are going to be a lot of bats on the buses. Give up seats so that bats can ride. Low again, ball 2.
Won by Johnson last night, and Kevin Elster with 2 in 2 nights.
Wally's got another hit tonight after picking up a couple last night. Strike 1 makes it 2-1.
Yankees at the stadium picked up 4 in the bottom of the 2nd. They lead Detroit 4-2. New York hitting in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Speed pitch dropping in there for strike 2, and it's 2-2 to Magadan. Walk has a full bag of tricks and has been changing speeds effectively. Fastball, line drive, base hit, center field. A 2-out single by Dave Magadan, who's now hit in 11 of his last 12 games. So that'll bring up Kevin Elster, the newfound power man. He hit one out the left. His first time up in the third inning, his 6th of the year.
Well, that's how you can salvage a poor batting average. Kevin batting only .203 coming into the game. But if he ends up hitting around .220 and delivers 15 home runs in the process, now you've found yourself a pretty good power hitter, a guy who can pick it like he can.
Fair ball inside the bag and down the left field corner. Magadan going to be sent home, rounding third. The throw from Bonds. Belliard with the relay, not in time. Elster going to third, and he's safe. A double and an RBI as Elster goes to third on the throw to the plate, and the Mets now lead it 3-1.
Great play by Sam Palazzo, the third base coach. But I'll tell you, in my opinion, there was interference on Bobby Bonilla going in front of Magadan at third base. He tried to block the bag out from Magadan. I hope we can get that. A nice try by Bonilla, but with the pitcher coming up in 2 outs, Palazzo elects to send Magadan a good play. Now watch Bonilla. Right before Magadan had hit third base, Bonilla went between Magadan and the bag for no apparent reason, trying to block off his stride. That's an old trick with third basemen. And it could have broken stride. It didn't with Dave, but it could have. And in my opinion, that's interference, and home plate should be awarded.
You don't see it called very often. David Cone grounds to second. Leaned will go to Bream. And the inning is over. But the Mets pad their lead with a big run in the 4th on 2 base hits. And in the middle of the 4th, it's now 3-1 New York. We're back after this for your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
I've had to write some tough things about some tough guys. But there's one guy I can't write anything bad about. His unique brand of baseball has made him a living legend. So have his commercials. They got me to try his favorite beer, light beer from Miller. Light's less filling and it really tastes great. So I bought this light for that renowned, yet humble man, Art Frunger.
Cheer up, Billy. One day you'll be famous just like me.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Bobby Bonilla, who couldn't quite get to that ball hit down the line by Kevin Elster, will lead it off for Pittsburgh here in the bottom half of the 4th inning, with the Mets now leading 3-1. And as you pointed out, Timmy, properly so, Bonilla trying to employ somewhat of a impediment to the runner.
Right. It's a very deceptive play and a subtly deceptive play. Bonilla really had come after he made the try for the ball. He was in foul territory, crossed in front of Magadan, and tried to put him off stride. A lot of times you block that bag off, and it really causes a runner to go off stride.
Bobby hits the first pitch on the ground to Backman, so there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th.
It's in some respects similar to a third baseman with a runner at third tagging up. You see third baseman drifting in the line of the fielder who's going to catch the ball and the runner at third, to where the runner doesn't know when the catch is really made. It might cause the runner to leave too soon or leave too late.
Which can be just as helpful if you can get him thrown out at the plate.
Sure.
Darnell Cole's the batter, grounded to short his first time up, and he takes high ball 1.
So I guess for the fans, if you're out at the ball game and you see a runner tag up at third base, watch the third baseman and see if they don't drift into the line of vision between the guy tagging up and the guy catching the ball in the outfield.
Which is why the base runner needs to rely on the third base coach to tell him when to go. As a little extra help. The fastball skied to center. Dykstra had to go back as that ball continues to carry, but Lenny right at the edge of the warning track for out number 2. So David Cone now has retired 4 in a row after the walk in the 3rd. And here's Sid Bream, who singled to center in the 2nd. Sid started the game hitting .385 against the Mets this year and has been on fire. Outside ball 1. Coming into this game in the month of June, Sid Bream is hitting .394. .448 in his last 10 games. Fouls it off. 1-1.
I've always thought Sid was an underrated player, and he's certainly showing that in June. He's vying for the Player of the Month award.
One would have to think so. Sometimes rests against left-handed pitching. Another thing that Jim Leland has done well is using his players high and deep to right. Strawberry may have room on the warning track. He does, and the inning is over. 2 deep fly balls, but Cone retires the Pirates in order in the 4th, and after 4, New York still leads Pittsburgh 3-1. Now here's a word from Manufacturers Hanover.
Nissan National League scoreboard: Philadelphia over Chicago 4-2. Afternoon game at Wrigley. The Cubs 6.5 back. A final L.A. now 4.5 in front of Houston. 2-0 they win that game. 7-1 San Francisco over Atlanta.
Len Dykstra takes a strike.
And to wrap up our Nissan scoreboard, 1-1 San Diego at Cincinnati. And boy, are the Reds struggling. Montreal at St. Louis later on.
Top of the order in the top of the 5th for New York. Here the Mets lead the Pirates 3-1. 1 strike to Dykstra. And he grounds it foul for strike 2. A week or so ago, really looked like Cincinnati might be starting to take charge a little bit, as the Western Division of the National League is one where no one has taken any command as yet.
Till recently.
And the Dodgers are establishing, especially in this head-to-head series with Houston. But it really looked like the Reds were going to make a move, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Line drive, base hit down the left field line. Could be at least 2 as it rattles in the corner. Dykstra coasts into second with a leadoff double.
Well, let's take a look at the American League Nissan scoreboard. 7-2 Oakland over the Milwaukee Brewers. 4-1 the Yankees over Detroit. That game in the bottom of the 3rd. No score Toronto at Baltimore in the 2nd. Cleveland 1-0 over Boston. Boys, Boston been playing good ball. Chicago at Kansas City later. Texas at Seattle, and Minnesota at California wraps it up. We'll try to keep you filled in on both leagues throughout the game.
Here's Wally Backman 1 for 2. Backman squaring but taking high, ball 1. Wally now hitting .289 on the year. And against the Pirates coming into this game, this season Wally was hitting .417.
He's going to bunt. I'd bunt the ball down the 3rd baseline. Bonilla hugging the bag too much, thinking Walk's going to get over there.
Takes low and inside, and again, he was squaring, so it's ball 2.
That's a tough play for a 3rd baseman because they have to decide immediately whether the pitcher's going to make the play or not. See how he's caught in between. If he charges too much, Dykstra could steal 3rd. In a precarious situation here.
Wally does bunt it down the 3rd base side. Walk gets over, no play at 3rd. Backman out on a very close play at 1st. And a good play by Bob Walk to get him with Dykstra at 3rd now with 1 out.
Well, that was a fine play and saves Walk from being in all kinds of trouble. Watch this play by Bob Walk. Reacting quickly, the bare hand throw to just get him. Very close, but he got him, it appeared. See, Bob didn't even look. He just threw it. Got him by a spike.
It'll be a sacrifice for Backman. Now the infield in all the way around, with the exception of Bonilla at 3rd, with McReynolds the batter, Dykstra at 3rd, 1 away. In the dirt, good play by LaValliere. Ball 1. Mike LaValliere this afternoon in the clubhouse going through a small mound of fan mail. And I was talking to Spanky, and he said, I never got this mail in St. Louis. Here he has become, at least locally, a star, and rightfully so, because he's a fine catcher.
Gold Glove winner last year, batted .300.
He says he's had to learn how to handle this, though. He's getting writer's cramp. Base hit left field. Dykstra will score, and the Mets take a 4-1 lead. Kevin McReynolds has now hit in 12 of his last 13 and driven in 9 runs in those 13 games.
Well, a big boost to the confidence of Kevin McReynolds. Infield in, and he whacks one over the head of Belliard as Lenny scores the 4th run of the ball game.
7th hit for New York. McReynolds at first, still 1 out, and the batter Darryl Strawberry. And Bob Walk has handled Darryl Strawberry well tonight, and here comes Jim Leland.
I don't think he's going to give him a chance to handle Darryl again. No,
right to the left-hander. So Rucker will be the pitcher, and Bob Walk will leave the ball game trailing 4-1 and responsible for McReynolds, the runner at first base. Then we'll be back right after this for Southwestern Bell.
I have taken on many fighters and tried many beers. One beer isn't a class by itself. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great and it's less filling. It weighs in at 1/3 less calories than the regular beer. Yes, I discovered your greatest beer, but I never met your greatest fighter. Hey, who is this Billy Martin anyway?
Billy Martin? He's warm, he's gentle, good looking too.
I got to meet this guy.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Rucker has really bounced around. He's been with Detroit. He was with the Philadelphia Phillies. His 9th appearance, and he has no saves. A rather hefty ERA, but he's used primarily to get left-handers out. He's got his hands full here.
Strawberry against Walk struck out looking and popped out to 3rd in foul territory. Darryl up with 1 out and McReynolds at first. And he takes a fastball high and tight for ball 1. Chased back. Bob Walk goes 4 1/3. Charged so far with 4 runs all earned on 7 hits. He struck out 3 and walked 1. Darryl swings at a sweeping breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sidearm delivery, foul back. 1-2. Another throw to first. Rucker with the typical left-hander move where he steps about halfway between first and home. When you are, according to the rules, supposed to step directly for the bag. Grounded to second. Could be 2. Lean to Belliard. Not in time. Darryl, very difficult to double up. But they do get the second out of the inning, and Strawberry forces McReynolds at second. I'll tell you, Jose Lind is going to be around for a long time. He is a marvelous second baseman with incredible range. Watch how he makes this little pivot. Good play by Belliard trying to get out of the way of McReynolds, but you're just not going to double up Darryl 4-6-3 unless he just really scalds the ball and can't get out of the box. So here's Howard Johnson to bat right-handed. Against Walk batting left-handed, Hojo struck out swinging twice. Strawberry, who was 1 step away from the bag, is pushed back. Darryl is a threat to run. with 2 out here in the 5th, and the Mets leading 4-1. But it does not have a big lead. Way outside. Good play by LaValle. Checking with Jim Leland. Maybe Rucker thought he called a pitch out. Ball was way outside.
Oh, he was the only guy who thought it. That's right. It's nice to know if you're the catcher, if the pitcher's going to pitch out. Give me some help.
Yeah. 1-1 to Johnson. Skied down the right field line, slicing foul and off the fence. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rucker waiting while the ball is retrieved. Jim Leland, who says, as he and Ray Miller both give signs, if the Pirates don't win it, it's only because they are not yet good enough to win it, not because they're young or any other excuse. Again, Strawberry close to the bag, but chased back. I like his attitude.
You like his attitude all the way around.
Right.
You really do.
Again, the first. He was talking this afternoon about how the media like to play up the fact that it is a young team, and a lot of the guys have never been in competition like that before. But you do have Van Slyke, who's with the Cardinals in the heat of pennant races. Way outside again.
And I kind of know that's a good point, because you kind of get the drift of what he's driving at. Because if you have the built-in excuse of being a young club, that impedes your progress.
That's right. He's told his players, we don't want to talk like that. We don't think like that. We're going to try to win this thing. And if we don't, we just weren't yet, and that's the word he used, yet as good as the Mets or whoever wins it is. Not because we're too young. It's just because we're not good enough yet. Implying that he's planning on them becoming good enough to win it if they don't win it this year. And he's got everybody believing that they're going to do it. Strawberry running. It's grounded to short. Belliard up with it across the first in time. And the inning is over. But the Mets score 1 on a couple of hits here in the 5th inning. And in the middle of the 5th, New York now leads Pittsburgh 4-1. We're back to Three Rivers after this for the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages.
Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Mets on top 4-1. And when you think of the number 4, you got to think of Ralph Kiner's number being retired last year. And I don't know where it is. You know, you can't find it here. What's going on? We got to get Ralphie to check on who took his number. He gets it retired and they take it. They not only took it, they took it.
Well, I hope it's in a vault somewhere.
Yeah.
It certainly should be on display here in the stadium, and it's not. There it is.
There it is.
They stuck it up in front of 2 zeros. Indicative of all those 400-foot blasts he used to hit.
4-1, New York on top. And Mike LaValle pops up the first pitch. Elster out, McReynolds in, and Kevin running Kevin off the play. So Kevin come 11, 1 out.
There's a couple of 4s on the back of David Cohn. Getting close. That's a good point, because if you retire a number, there should be some display here in the ballpark where you do that.
Gosh, great tradition here at this ballpark. As Rafael Belliard steps up, not only at this park, but this town. The Pirates world champions back in 79, 71, and 1960. And the interesting thing that I found out on Monday, Steve, There you see the World Championship Pirates. Those who could forget Bill Mazeroski's home run against Ralph Terry in the 9th inning, 7th game in 1960. 2 balls, no strikes to Belliard, and it's high, ball 3. Since World War II, every year that the Pirates have led the league in runs scored, they've won the World Championship. 1960, 71, and 79. And in only those years have they led the league in runs scored.
And guess what? Right now, they are leading the league in runs scored.
So it's a good sign for the Pirates.
They have scored 334 runs so far this year, including the one tonight.
Strike 2 to Belliard, 3-2. Ralph says that they are leading the Mets by 1 run right now. 3-2 to Belliard. Ground ball up the middle. It's going to find a hole, and it does. So Belliard continues to hit them where they ain't.
Especially against New York. Belliard hitting .385 coming into tonight against Mets pitching. It's pounded down right in that hard dirt in front of the plate, and then it hits the artificial surface in front of second and takes that overspin hop. Makes it impossible for Backman to flag it down. Even if he had gotten to the ball, I doubt he would have had any play on Belliard.
So the pinch hitter is going to be Orestes Destrada. He is the switch hitter. He was in last night's ball game. He flied to deep center. Very strong. Came over from the Yankees make that March 30th in the Hipólito Peña deal. A real tongue twister of a deal. Hipólito Peña for Orestes Destrada.
That's one you want to say about 3 times quickly.
Outside, ball 1-0. We mentioned Ralph's number being retired last year, and the only thing that happened that night that was certainly not in favor of anybody, certainly an unsavory happening, as Destrada rips one to right, base hit. Belliard stops at second, and the Pirates have runners at first and second and 1 out. Bring up the potential tying run, Barry Bonds, but Arthur Richmond slipping that night, falling down, and Artie has been in and out of the hospital. He's watching tonight, we understand, from Roosevelt Hospital, and our thoughts are with him as always, and we hope the most recent infection in his leg clears up in a hurry. Bonds flying to deep center in the first inning. And he could tie it with 1 swing of the bat. Breaking ball, popped up. Is it playable? Carter back. And he can't get to it. It's about 5 feet over the screen. So it's 0-1 to Gary Carter. Or to Barry Bonds. Fifth inning. Breaking ball low, 1-1. Fastball low, 2 balls and 1 strike. Strike to Bonds. David Cohn, who ordinarily demonstrates very good control, has not had the command he usually has in this particular evening, anyway. Bonds looked like he was taking all the way. You understand that? A chance to tie it up.
And his last time up with a 3-0 count,
He looked to be hitting and took ball 4. 3-1. Foul ball out of play. McReynolds giving chase, and it's too far out of play. Over near the fence that separates the bullpen from the playing field. Still 3-2.
McReynolds and Elster both have a long way to go. Kevin McReynolds, of course, with Bonds being a left-handed hitter with power, was playing not only deep, but a little bit over towards center. So a long run for Kevin, and just not enough hang time.
Ground ball to Magadan. He wanted to go to second, and now he has to go to first. So he does get Barry Bonds. Estrada sliding into second, Belliard to third, and they're now 2 outs.
Well, initially, it looked like David had a play on Estrada at second base. Ball's not hit sharply. It would have been an almost impossible double play. And I don't really know what changed David's mind. He felt, as you can see, he was ready, and then all of a sudden, and it's a good thing David Cone was covering at first, or the Mets might not have gotten anybody to play.
Good point, because a lot of times a pitcher could go for the head fake. He could think the first baseman is throwing to second and let up. But David didn't, and he got the out. Here's Jose Lean, who is 0 for 2. 2 on, 2 out, 4-1, New York. Strike 1. 0-1 to Lean. On the corner. No balls, 2 strikes to Lean.
2 good pitches by David Cone in a tough situation. The tying run at the plate and runners at second and third.
Oh, it gets by Carter. And now Belliard was breaking off, and the throw to second base on Estrada is not in time. The Pirates had 2 runners at third base. The ball hopped back to Carter. I think he was crossed up. Sure looks like it.
Boy, it did, because he's talking to Cone right now. Gary was reaching up and away for the ball, and the ball came up and in toward Lean and went right over Carter's shoulder. Watch this. Gary's going outside. The ball goes up and in. And fortunately for New York, it hit the padding on the backstop and came right back to Carter. He had no clue where that ball was going. Now look at Belliard. He's caught. Carter obviously looks at him. And now he sees Estrada off second. And Estrada just does get back in.
Good base running by Estrada. Takes a very alert base runner to do what he did. Outside, 2-2. And now Gary wants to talk to Cone again.
It's obvious that they're having a problem right now. Carter had to sort of lunge after that ball.
This is the first time. They said first sign. That's what David Cone just said. First sign, we eliminate all. Let's just go.
Keep it simple. There's only been one other runner at second base. That was Belliard back in the third.
See if we can pick up first sign. It's a curveball. And it was a fastball. Crossed me up then. I thought I saw David say first sign.
That's what I thought too.
Let's see if we can pick it up again. Fastball away. Fastball was away, so we must have missed the first sign the last time. It's 3-2 to Lean.
Must have been the pinky we didn't pick up right away.
Grounded up the middle, base hit. Belliard scores. Here comes Estrada, and he scores. 4-3 Pittsburgh. I can't help but think the lack of communication between Carter and Cone had something to do with that base hit.
You have to figure that the 2 cross-up pitches may not have been pitches for balls had they been together earlier in the count. But a 3-2, 2-out base hit by Jose Lean to drive in both Belliard and Destrada, and it's all of a sudden a one-run ball game. David Cohn had only given up 2 base hits coming into this inning, and the Pirates had put together 3 to pull to within a run. So Lean now at first base, and the batter Andy Van Slyke. And here comes Carter to talk to Cohn again. And nobody's on second. I really don't understand what their problem was, but certainly their problem was pretty evident in pitching to Lean. And you had to feel that it may not be the cause, obviously, of Jose Lean getting a 2-out base hit, but it's a contributing factor to the manner in which Cohn had to work and the count with which he had to work against Lean.
Yeah, you pitch it with indecisive fashion, or in indecisive fashion. Andy Van Slyke 0 for 2. Breaking ball, strike 1. He got ahead of Lean 0 and 2, and then ran the count to 3 and 2. One cross-up. Maybe it's fortunate not to have Belliard score.
Maybe 2 cross-ups. The way Carter lunged at another pitch that was thrown up there outside. But in one at bat, they had 3 meetings at the mound.
Looks like a split-finger fastball. It's high, 1-1. 4 to 3. The Pirates took the lead in the second with 1 run. The Mets scored 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth. And leading 4 to 1, the Pirates scoring 2 runs on a single by Jose Lean. Breaking ball ripped foul. So it's a ball and 2 strikes to Andy Van Slyke.
Andrew'd like to have another hack at that pitch. Sort of sitting there waiting for him to hit it, and he just couldn't wait.
Still 1 and 2. Sitting on that fastball inside and grounds it foul just outside of first. So it's still 1 and 2 to Van Slyke. Split finger hit deep to right field, way back, and it's out of here. The Pirates lead it 5-4.
Usually travels a long way, and that ball hanging right up there for Andy Van Slyke to hammer, and he took care of it in fine fashion. David Cohn had only given up 2 home runs in 96 innings prior to the second inning homer by Bonilla tonight. He's given up now 2 home runs in this ball game and has given up 4 runs here in the 5th inning after 2 outs. He's gone from leading 4-1 to trailing 5-4. Andy Van Slyke's 12th home run of the year, and Van
Slyke has now driven in 35 runs in the last 37 games. So the Mets with a 4-1 lead here in the 5th inning sees it vanish rapidly. All 4 runs, as Steve says, coming with 2 outs, and Gene Walter now up and throwing for New York. David is scheduled to bat 4th in the top of the 6th inning for New York. Mel Stottlemyre trying to settle him down and get him to get this last out. You get the feeling the last 4 innings are going to be one team overcoming a lead, knocking back and forth. Taking on the character of that. Yep, this could be one of those games where it's just take your turns hacking and hammering and see who finishes last. Low, ball 3, 3-0 to Bonilla. Which would give the Pirates as the home team, I guess, the advantage of this kind of ball game. Bonilla not swinging, and he walks on 4 pitches. Really the first time this year that we've seen David come unglued. I mean, he has lost his composure. And that's highly unusual for a man who is usually calm, cool, and collected. Well, I think maybe, and this is pure speculation on my part, but it's appeared that David hasn't had the kind of command that he's ordinarily had, really from the word go tonight. And maybe it's been unsettling to him all the way along, so that when he has gotten into trouble, he hasn't felt confident, knowing that he doesn't have his good stuff with him. Breaking ball way outside, ball 1. 5 balls in a row thrown by Cone. Hit hard to left field, but there's McReynolds. The Pirates come up with 4 runs on 4 hits, highlighted by the home run by Andy Van Slyke, and the Pirates lead it 5-4 after 5. We're back after this from the good old guys. Barry Jones makes his 26th appearance with a record of 1-1. And a slider low to Carter. Barry's had 1 save. He's worked 36 2/3 innings with an ERA of 2.70. He's given up 5 home runs. We'll make that 3. Little looper left center. It could fall. Belliard back, and he can't get to it. Over the head of Bonds. Now Carter too far, and he has to scamper back to first base. A lot happened for not much happening. Single by Carter. This is not your routine, just normal base hit here. Belliard going hard, and of course the left fielder Bonds playing Carter deep. Barry also working on a bad wheel. He can't get there, and you could tell by the way he was stopping that it's still bothering him. Van Slyke, one of the best in center field, right there to fire to Lean, who was expecting Carter, but Gary, who had the play in front of him, scampered. I guess, I don't know if Gary's capable of scampering. He's sort of, catchers always scamper and scurry. Lightfoot Carter scampering back to first. Fastball to Dave Magadan. Dave's had a good night. He scored 2 runs. He singled in the 4th and walked in the 2nd. Hitting star for the Mets, Kevin Elster, has driven in 3 of the 4 runs. 5-4 Pittsburgh. Ball 2 to Magadan. Stick around, folks. This might be a beauty. One of those topsy-turvy babies, far from over. Corner to Magadan. 2 balls and a strike today. Terry Leach has now joined Gene Walter, and he's up and throwing, and we would imagine that regardless of what happens, David Cone will be pinch hit for by someone. On the corner again, 2-2. What will be interesting and a difficult decision probably for Davey Johnson and Mel Stottlemyre is if there is a double play,
now in this inning, and the Mets only send 3 to the plate without the opportunity to pinch hit for Cone. Do they relieve him or not? Couldn't make a double switch and put Mazzilli at first and hitting 9th. Had the pitcher batting 7th. We'll see. This one fouled away, 2-2. But that is a good point because clearly David struggled through the 5th inning. This is what happened between innings. Mel Stottlemyre filling in Davy Johnson on the conversation he had with Cone on the mound and also offering his opinion, I'm sure. Davy wanting to know, what do you think? Do we send him? And I think it looks like they're going to do it no matter what because Mel was getting, as you noted, Kenny, Terry Leach up to join Gene Walter with that phone call to the bullpen. And now, talking to Davy. Been often that David Cone has come out with his good stuff this year or without his good stuff. He's not number 2 in the National League in earned run average by having bad stuff. Well, if the Mets can score 2 and keep the lead, he could be the winning pitcher in this game. Far from over. Low, good play by LaValliere. 3-2. We'll see if Carter is sent by Davy Johnson. Here comes Keith Miller to run for Carter. How about that? Awful unusual that in the middle innings of the game, Carter would be lifted, but it is a full count. And Keith Miller with excellent speed. Toughest job in the world is pinch running. He's not even loose. You saw him loosening up. So he will most probably be sent here. Takes a young man to be a pinch runner. Young legs. Diving back is Miller. Well, Davy Johnson employing a little insurance against having Magadan hit into a double play and having to deal with making the double switch or leaving Cone in the game, or whatever he may decide to do. There goes Miller. Fastball is inside, so Magadan walks. The Mets with runners at first and second, nobody out. And another point of controversy, I guess, what do you do with Kevin Elster? He is homered. He is doubled. He has 3 RBIs. So, does he bunt? Well, the Pirates are trying to figure that out right now. The infield's coming in for a meeting. And now Ray Miller, the pitching coach, is going out to participate in the meeting while Sam Perlazzo and Kevin Elster have a meeting of their own. I'll tell you, we have seen an outstanding strategic move by Davy Johnson. Ralph just pointed out that Mackey Sasser is coming to the on-deck circle. So that's the reason Keith Miller was used as a pinch runner in that particular instance, because you may never have another chance. So Sasser will go in as the catcher unless Kevin hits into a triple play. Got to explore all possibilities. The Mets hit into 1 triple play here last year. The only triple play that the Mets hit into last year was right here at Three Rivers. So we'll see what Elster's going to do. And the Pirate infield. First and second, none out, 5-4 Pittsburgh, 6th inning. Strike 1 as Bream and Jones broke to their proper positions. Bream on top of Elster and Jones toward the line. Bonilla hugging close at third. Pirates want to keep Bonilla there in an effort to get a force play. Miller, remember, runs very well, so the Bucks, at least on that pitch, not employing the rotation play. So if you're Elster, you got to think bunted hard toward third base and make Bonilla feel the ball. And he takes ball 1. 1-1 to Elster. Wheels are turning. And they got a guy guy in each dugout who can match wheels with the best of them, and both Davy Johnson and Jim Leland making the moves.
To bunt again, and it's high. Sid Green, as close as Keith Hernandez comes in a situation similar to this. 2 balls and a strike to Elster. Outside, ball 3. All of the infield strategy in the world can't combat a pitcher who's wild. 3-1 to Elster. See if Johnson takes off the bunt sign here. Nope. Ball 4. How about that? A single by Carter, a walk to Magadan, and now a walk to Elster. Bases loaded and nobody out.
Barry Jones and Mike LaValliere wanted this pitch. It was close, very close. But Elster walks, and the bases are loaded with nobody out.
It appears that Jeff Robinson is warming up for the Pirates. As you saw the runners, Miller at third, Magadan at second, and over at first, Kevin Elster. And Mackie Sasser is the batter. Mackie batting .293 on the year.
And as a pinch hitter this year, Mackey's 3 for 8 with 2 pinch hit RBIs.
Fouled away. 0-1 to Mackey. Bases loaded, nobody out. The Mets trail by a run here in the 6th inning. Slider backs up, stays on the corner. 0-2 to Sasser. Infield and double play depth. They'd gladly trade a run, even though that would tie the game, for the double play. Sasser stays alive.
Well, that was a nasty pitch. That was headed down like a rock. Looked like the split finger fastball, didn't it? Sure did. The pitch that is running rampant in the 80s. Sasser lucky to get a piece of this ball. Look at that thing dive, especially at the last minute. Mackey just hitting the top of the ball.
Going to score a run. Bonds limping over. Magadan tags up at second also, and could have gone to third base the way Bonds fielded that ball. Miller scores. It's now a 5-5 ball game.
And Mackie Sasser, with his 3rd pinch hit RBI of the year, it's very apparent that Barry Bonds is not 100%. Magadan attempting to draw a throw did. Sasser hits it the other way. It's down and away. And watch Bonds go after this ball. Now the way he turns and throws, where's he throwing? The ball gets away from 2 people actually. And Magadan, although you can't fault Dave because he went back to the bag, it was too late for him to do anything about it. Gets by both cutoff men. Here's Len Dykstra now with runners at first and second and 1 out, a swing and a foul tip, 0-1. I think Magadan ought to take a chance. With Bonds fielding a ball like that, he's right back near the fence.
And I think that's tentative base running when you don't make a play. And I'm not talking about after the fact. If you see an outfielder with his back to you and you're tagged up, you got to challenge him. If he throws you out, you got to tip your hat to him.
I think the only hesitancy on Dave's part is that he really doesn't possess a lot of speed. He probably didn't have much confidence in the fact that he could make it.
True, but it doesn't take a fast base runner to be a good base runner.
True.
Outside to Dykstra, 1-1 to Lenny.
Also, speed is no guarantee of being a good base runner.
No, that's right.
Fast guys that are bad base runners.
That's exactly right. What you try to do is maximize what God gave you. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike to Dykstra. The Mets have scored at least 1 run in every inning since the 3rd. We're in the 6th. It's a 5-5 ball game. 2 on, 1 out. Two balls, 1 strike to Dykstra. David Cone now in a position where he can only win this game. If the Mets take the lead and hold it here in the 6th inning, Cone will pick up a win. High, ball 3. 3-1.
David hadn't even gone to the jacket after finishing on a cool league. You're kind of guy.
Yes, sir. Sid Bream now out to talk to Barry Jones.
The way this game is going, partner, if we have any more meetings at the mound, you and I will get to our respective New York hotels just in time for breakfast.
It's only an hour away.
That's right. And it's a short flight.
This last inning has been a very interesting inning, but a long one. 3-1 to Dykstra. Lenny's last home run, April 14th. High, ball 4. That's the 3rd walk of the inning issued by Barry Jones. And the batter's going to be Wally Backman. There's Jeff Robinson. He is ready. And we'll see if Jim Leyland makes a move. Yep, here he comes with a double switch. Darnell Coles made the last out. You could insert a right fielder, hit him 9th, and that's what Leyland's going to do. Here comes Coles. Looks like R.J. Reynolds is going to come in the game, and he'll play right field and bat 9th. The pitcher, Jeff Robinson, will bat 5th and come in the game. And with the bases loaded and 1 out, a 5-5 game, and it's a beauty right here. We'll be back to see what happens after this from Southwestern Bell.
He'll take over for Darnell Coles in right field, and he will bat 9th in the batting order. And batting in the 5th spot in the batting order, which is 9 away from where they are right now, is Jeff Robinson, making his 36th appearance of the year. 5-2 with 8 saves and a 3.29 ERA. He enters this game with a 5-5 tie, 1 out, and the bases loaded.
Chance to remind you fans that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets and WWOR-TV is prohibited. Wally Backman, the batter. The bases are loaded. 1 out. We're in the top of the 6th inning of a 5-5 ball game. 8 hits for the Mets, 6 for the Pirates. Each team has played errorless ball. Backman is 1 for 2, sacrificed and single. Ball 1. We have Dave Magadan at third base. Kevin Elster at second, and Lynn Dykstra over at first. 1 ball, no strikes to Backman. deep to left center. That's going to score a run. Van Slyke makes the play. He's going to try to throw home. Magadan can't run well, and he just makes it. Holy cow, what a play by Andy Van Slyke. 6'5" New York. That is one of the finest throws from where he was that you'll ever see.
Van Slyke getting himself in position, and this preparation is what makes the play. It helps to have a great arm, and Van Slyke has one. But he got himself in a position to give himself a chance to throw out Magadan. This is what makes you a good fielder right here. On the run, making the catch, and a strong throw to LaValliere, and Magadan just does beat it.
So Magadan scores Wally Backman's 9th RBI of the year, and here's Kevin McReynolds. 6-5 now, New York. Inside, ball 1.
That run does, in fact, put David Cone on the winning side of the ledger, at least at this point in the ball game. And as you said to me, no matter what happens now, he can't lose the game.
Well, he has not picked up a cheap victory all year long. The Mets hoping that tonight he would. It's 2-0 to McReynolds, who is 1 for 3 and an RBI on the evening.
That run, incidentally, charged to Barry Jones. So right now, Barry Jones is in as the losing pitcher. But again, it ain't over.
McReynolds looking for that fastball, and he lifts it out of play. So it's 2-1 to Kevin. Robinson came to the Pirates last August 21st, along with Scott Medvin in the Rick Rushell trade. Converted to a reliever back in 1986. Signed originally with the Giants in 1983 as their number 2 selection. He has done a fine job for the Buccos. Grounded foul. So it's 2-2. Left-hander. Right. Nice gesture, that young man. Number 13.
There aren't many around. Concepcion and Mazzilli among them.
2-2 to McReynolds, left field ball person. Good play by LaValliere on the split finger fastball. You know, if Robinson comes from the Giants, he's got to throw that. That's right. 3-2.
Well, it's getting to be anymore where you don't even have to have ever met Roger Craig to throw the split finger fastball. A couple of years ago, it was anybody who's been around Roger Craig started throwing it. Good play again by LaValliere. One of the advantages Spanky has is he's already real close to the ground. There's not a lot of room for the ball to get under him. But now the pitch has become so popular because of its success that it's not the case in Robinson's case, however, but you see almost everybody at least trying to throw it.
So the runners will be off. 3-2, 2 out. There go the runners, and the split finger fastball is low. That's the 4th walk of the inning issued by Pirate pitchers. 3 by Jones and 1 by Robinson. And here is Darryl Strawberry with a chance to do some damage. Interesting confrontation here.
Certainly is. And the crowd and anticipation buzzing.
Darryl hitless in 3 trips on the evening. Split finger is a strike. 0-1 to Strawberry. Good play, LaValliere. 1-1 to Darryl.
Boy, Mike really jumped out there, keeping his body in front of the ball and everything down low and the ball in front of him. Watch him pounce out here. We had the shin guard there, the glove there, and if it came up, his body was there.
Strawberry hit his first home run in the major leagues in this ballpark. He hit it off Lee Tunnel in 1983. Another good play by LaValliere. 2 balls and a strike to Darrell. 6-5 New York.
Right there could be the most important one as far as Jeff Robinson is concerned, because 3-1 is something you do not want to have in this situation. But now he has a 3-1 pitch to make to Darryl Strawberry with the bases loaded.
Swing and a miss. Well, the runners will be running. 3-2 to Strawberry with 2 outs.
Well, he makes a pretty good 3-1 pitch here. Watch this ball tail away. Dropping down and away from Darryl for strike 2.
Swing and a miss. Strawberry down on strikes. And what a big strikeout that was. The Mets, however, take the lead on 2 runs. Only 1 hit in the inning, and they strand 3. After 5.5, 6-5 New York, and we're back after this from Busch Beer.
Stays in the ball game,
and the pitcher here in the 6th inning is Terry Leach. He'll try to hold the lead so David Cohn can pick up win number 10.
Terry is making his 25th appearance of the year. He's 2-1 with 1 save and a 3.24 ERA. He has given up just 1 home run in 41 2/3 innings of work. He sprained his ankle Sunday in Chicago, but it was not serious. He was ready to pitch on Monday if needed, so it should not bother him tonight.
David Cohn worked 5 innings, giving up 6 hits and 5 runs, all of them earned, walking 3 and striking out 2. Sid Green now lines one sharply. Great play, Elster. The throw. Got him at first. Oh, brother, what a play. 1 out.
Very close at first. No argument from Tommy Sant, the first base coach. Green hits a sharp rocket, and I mean it just turned Kevin Elster around. The ball was actually by Kevin, but he was able to come up with it, and as you can see, Bream's out by almost a full step. What a play by Kevin Elster.
Boy, that was a dandy. Here's LaValliere now. Mike 0 for 2 and continuing his slide. He's 3 for his last 35, and he takes strike 1. 6-5 New York, bottom of the 6th inning. Ball 1.
LaValliere is a much different hitter with men on base. He has had so many big hits against the Mets in late innings with men on base and in scoring position, and he's continued to do that no matter where he's playing.
Well, he continues to do it. Lines this one. It's going to be in there for at least 2. Dykstra quickly up with it to hold Mike to a double. Rather prescient of you, Mr. Z.
I'll tell you, he's even struggled against the Mets a little this year. But you can think back, I'm sure, to a number of times when he was with the Cardinals as well as last year with the Pirates. And when the game is on the line, Spanky can spank one against the Mets with anybody. And here he spanked one into the corner, into the gap in right center, rather. And it's an easy double.
So Mike at second base, and the batter Rafael Belliard as Buddy Harrelson aligns his infield, trying to get Wally Backman's attention and move him a little toward the hole, and Wally cooperates. Outside to Belliard, who is 1 for 1 with a run score.
The Mets outfield now properly shallow. LaValliere does not run that well. Belliard does not have power. So everything in place in case there's a play at the plate to work in the Mets' advantage.
On deck batter is R.J. Reynolds. You remember the double switch in the top of the 6th.
There you can see the defensive alignment. They play Belliard to hit the ball the other way and not deep.
2 balls, no strikes to Rafael. Tapper foul. 2 balls and 1 strike. This game started off like just a breeze, and it's kind of gotten to hurricane force here in the middle innings. Pirates scored first, 1 in the 2nd inning. The Mets with 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and the Bucks with 4 in their half of the 5th. It's 6-5 New York, but it's 3-1 to Belliard. Belliard walks, and that'll bring up R.J. Reynolds.
Terry Leach needed that out with Belliard because Terry has not had a tremendous amount of success against left-handed hitters. And R.J. Reynolds, being a switch hitter, will be batting from the left side.
Diamond Strawberry, born 2 days after Erica and Jessica Reynolds were born on Saturday. His wife Yolanda giving birth to twins on Saturday. He's the batter, and it's a ball low. You're watching Mets Baseball 88 on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Outside, ball 2. You got to wonder if Terry Leach's ankle is giving him problems. It's the one on which he lands, his left one. Steve Garland and Bob Sykes have it heavily taped. And Bill Stottlemyre on the horn to the bullpen. And it looks like Randy Myers is up. It makes sense that Davy Johnson would use Myers and McDowell tonight earlier than normal rather than saving them for tomorrow night, because tomorrow night the Pirates are off. This is a 2-game spread right now. Fouled away, 2-1.
Just to elaborate on that, if the Mets were to lose tomorrow night to Houston in New York with the Pirates not playing, they would only lose a half a game in the standings. If they lose to the Pirates tonight, as you said to me, it is in effect a 2-game swing.
Instead of 5.5, it would be 3.5. Therefore, Randy Myers, normally a late inning reliever, is up in the 6th. Swing and a miss. 2-2 to Reynolds.
Let's check out Terry Leach and see if we can detect anything bothering him with the left ankle upon which he lands. He sprained in Chicago.
Looks a little thicker, doesn't it, because of that tape?
Yeah. It doesn't really appear to be favoring it all.
No?
It doesn't.
2-2 to Reynolds, 1 out, 2 on. Well, that was not a healthy swing.
He was very lucky to get a piece of that as he just cued it off toward the Mets dugout.
6-5 ball game. Mets on top. Bottom of the 6th inning. got him. The slider from Leach gets Reynolds. 2 outs.
Biggest pitch of the night for the Mets, at least to this point. R.J. Reynolds just missed that ball. I think, too, he was a little bit out in front. Terry Leach can take something off of about every pitch he throws.
Yeah, you may not do it intentionally. A lot of times when you're throwing a breaking ball, you may wrap it tighter than another one. You inadvertently take something off, as Terry appeared to do then. Well, here's Barry Bonds with 2 outs now, 2 on. Bonds is 0 for 2 with a walk in the 3rd. Outside and low, ball 1.
I guess one would have to think that had R.J. Reynolds gotten on base, Randy Myers would be pitching to Barry Bonds right now.
Yeah, Myers is ready.
Right. But since Leach got Reynolds, he's still in there.
Low, ball 2. 2-0.
Interesting stat for a guy who has had the success he has had, and Barry Bonds only has 25 RBIs. But remember, he bats leadoff.
Ball 3, 3 balls and no strike. Terry Leach has walked only 11 in 24 appearances all year. And he's walked 2 in this inning as Bonds goes down to first and the batter Jose Lean. We talked about it in the 5th, and this game was earmarked for this type of flipping back and forth. We got a lot of baseball ahead of us, folks. Lean with a big 2 RBI single in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. Strike 1 on the corner. Leaned, true to his name, leans out over the plate. Is coming in the game. A double switch again is being employed, as Tuffle will be batting 9th and Randy Myers will be batting 2nd. I can't remember a game this year when Randy Myers has come in the 6th inning. It's a 7-6 ball game. Pirates on top, 2 on, 2 out. Randy Myers, the new pitcher, and we'll be back after this from McDonald's. He's batting 9th. He'll be batting 6th, as that's where Terry Leach was batting, and Randy Myers batting 2nd in place of Wally Backman. Backman out of there, Myers in, and there are his numbers. Slider to Van Slyke is outside.
Last inning, Andy Van Slyke with 2 out. A two-run home run after Jose leaned, had singled with 2 out to drive in 2. His 12th of the year, and the Pirates scoring 4 in the inning.
Fouled away, 1-1 to Andy. 2 outs, 2 on, 7-6 now, Pittsburgh.
This is one of those games where if you don't like the way things are going, just wait a minute.
Kind of like the weather in Chicago over the weekend.
Don't like it? Wait a minute. It'll change.
Foul back. A ball and 2 strikes to Andy Van Slyke. Can you think of the game this year that Randy's been in there in the 6th inning?
No, I sure can't. He did work 3 innings. I think at one point, did he not?
2 2/3.
2 2/3
This is the longest.
Yeah, this is the first time in the 6th.
Little looper over the head of Johnson, and he can't make the play. Van Slyke jammed on the pitch, and Howard just couldn't get to it. Still 1-2.
Myers with a good pitch here to Van Slyke, but Andy's able to fight this ball off without putting it in play.
Slider gets him. Sasser dropped the ball and then made the tag. So Myers does the job, but the Pirates take the lead again. 2 runs on 2 hits. They strand a runner. After 6, it's 7-6 Pittsburgh. Ralph Kiner joins Steve Zabriskie after this from Time Magazine.
It's one of my bigger days. Let me buy a beer. Sure. These fans, I love them. When I came in, they didn't recognize me at first, but then when I told them who I was, next thing you know, they're buying me my favorite beer, light beer from Miller. They know us ex-big leaguers drink light because it's got 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. It's less filling, and it tastes great. Thanks.
Hey, it's a pleasure to buy a beer for a great pitcher like Whitey Ford.
Hey. So I lied. Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, Whitey, I thought you were a lefty. Oh, that's right.
Randy Myers, who is in relief, getting some relief, and he provided some relief by striking out Andy Van Slyke with 2 out to end the inning, but the Pirates scored twice. As a wild and woolly one continues here on a cool evening in Pittsburgh. Jeff Robinson in relief, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Pirates. And as we go to the 7th, one of Pittsburgh's favorite sons, Ralph Kiner.
Thank you very much, Steve, and once again, hi, everybody. The only thing that's apropos is Frankie Frisch's saying, all those bases on balls.
You're not kidding. And they come around to score, don't they? They have done it tonight.
For the Mets, it'll be Howard Johnson to lead it off. Howard has struck out twice and grounded out, batting for the first time against Jeff Robinson. And a swing for strike 1. Both sides with 8 base hits in this game. And the Pirates leading 7-6, and the split finger fastball for a ball. Johnson with 1 home run against the Pirates this year. That came in last night's ball game. And another ball call, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Mets on this road trip have won 2 and lost 4 ball games. And the Pirates have won 5 of their last 6. And this ball hit on the ground toward first base. Bream has it, and the toss off to Robinson in time for the out. 1 away in the top of the 7th inning, and that'll bring up Tim Tuffle batting for the first time. Pirates trailing the Mets by 4.5 games. A victory here tonight would put them at 3.5. Cubs lost their ball game, so if the Mets lose, they would remain 6 games up in the Cubs. Tuffle hitting .273, 2 home runs, 16 runs batted in. careful an idea about bunting. Bunt's a bad pitch, and it's not a good bunt. He's thrown out.
Well, you were right in both instances, Ralph. A bad pitch to bunt and a bad bunt off the pitch. Tuffle trying to get on. Pitch almost in the dirt. Another one of those splitters. And on the artificial surface, you have to make a very good bunt if you're bunting for a base hit in order to be successful. Robinson pounced on it and threw him out.
So 2 men away in the top of the 7th, and that'll bring up Dave Magadan. Dave has walked twice. He also has singled, and he has scored 3 runs in this game. And a line drive base hit to left field. So Magadan on base all 4 times he has been up with 2 walks and 2 hits.
Dave has scored 3 runs, so getting on base is a good omen for New York when it comes to Magadan tonight.
And also Kevin Elster, a good night. He has homered, a 2-run home run back in the 3rd. He has doubled a drive in a run. That was in the 4th. He also has walked. So he has driven in 3, and he is perfect for the night at 2 for 2 and a walk.
What's hurt New York tonight, Ralph, and what's hurt them lately, especially on this road trip, is that middle of the order. McReynolds 1 for 3. Strawberry and Johnson a combined 0 for 8.
And the first pitch to Elster called strike. Mets got 2 in the 3rd on Elster's home run. They got 1 in the 4th on Elster's double. They got 1 in the 5th on a run batted in by McReynolds on a single to left field. They got 2 in the 6th, helped out by walks. Had only 1 hit in the inning. And that pitch is called strike 2.
Elster doesn't like this call as this ball rides in, and Elster thought it was not only in but down.
So Elster with a 2-strike count. Batting 8th in the batting order, Mackie Sasser is on deck. And the ball gets by LaValliere. Magadan goes down to 2nd on the wild pitch, and the Mets have the tying run at 2nd with 2 men out here in the 7th.
Mike LaValliere's made some outstanding plays tonight, but this ball is bad news from the time it leaves Jeff Robinson's hand. Biting ball in the dirt way out in front of LaValliere, and that in-between hop, and it just bites and kicks right by him.
Elster with the tying run at 2nd. 2 men away in the 7th. Final game of what has been a bad road trip for the Mets. They have lost 4 games of their lead on this road trip. Pitch a ball, it's 2-2. Oddly enough, the Pirates against the Mets in their last 4 ball games had scored just 4 runs. They were shut out twice at Shea Stadium in the last 2 games won by the Mets. And the first 2 games of this series, they had scored just 4 runs, and they have a record of 1-3 in those 4 ball games. But tonight they have exploded. They're leading 7-6. And it's foul off to the 3rd base side by Sammy Palazzo. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I couldn't tell it by this ball game, but the Mets came into this game with the best earned run average in the league at 2.95. The most shutouts, 13. The most strikeouts by a pitching staff, 499. The fewest hits allowed, 577. And the fewest home runs allowed, 334.
And I believe also, Ralph, the fewest walks allowed.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And it goes to 3-2. Mackie Sasser, the on-deck batter, 3-2 to Kevin Elster. Robinson came in the game in the 6th inning, gave up a sacrifice fly for a run in pitching to Backman, then walked McReynolds, then struck out Strawberry to get out of the inning. Got the first two batters in this inning gave up a base hit to Maggott. And a swing and a miss. And Elster struck out. One hit, one left, and the score at the end of 6.5 innings. It is Pittsburgh 7, the New York Mets 6. Now here's a word from Michelob. Battle here in the last game of the homestand for Pittsburgh. They go to the West Coast, and the last game of this road trip for the Mets as they return home tomorrow. And the first pitch to Bonilla. Checking the swing, and third base umpire Bob Engel calls it a strike. Make that first base umpire Tom Hallion calls it a strike. Bonilla with a home run in the second. Also has grounded out and walked, and strike two. Last night, Bonilla got his first home run ever against the Mets, batting from the right-hand side. And he now has hit a home run off every team in the National League. His home run in the second inning came as a left-hand batter off of David Cohn.
And the way he's going, he's just started the cycle again. He'll go around the league at least one more time.
And they're checking the swing right there. They appeal again. And it's called strike three. So Bonilla struck out swinging. Second strikeout for Randy Myers. He has pitched to two batters. And that'll bring up Jeff Robinson.
Here's the Nissan National League scoreboard. The Phillies beat Chicago 4-2. The Dodgers shut out Houston 2-0. San Francisco over the Braves 7-2. San Diego got by Cincinnati 3-2. And in the fifth inning, Montreal leading the Cardinals 2-1.
Jeff Robinson, the batter, and the first pitch is in there, called strike. How about Pete Rose? Day before yesterday, he turned in the wrong lineup card. They lost a chance to have a rally as they called that against him. Yesterday, got a traffic ticket on Pete Rose Way.
That's when you know you're going bad.
And you can't go any worse than that.
He even offered the officer 4 tickets to the game that night and couldn't get out of the $29 ticket for 4 tickets. If the Reds were winning, he might have been able to do it.
Well, you know, when you're in a tough streak, when Pete Rose gets a traffic ticket in Cincinnati on his own street.
Got to be shaking his head.
He no longer owns Cincinnati. No. Cincinnati in dire straits. In losing, they're now 10.5 games out. Dodgers won their ball game. That pitch fouled off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dodgers in winning, moving up to 4.5 games ahead of Houston, who lost. San Francisco won, so they're in third place, 5.5 back. And Jeff Robinson hits a foul ball out toward the left field side and out of play. Robinson hit a home run to win his own ball game off a pretty good pitcher last year. Lee Smith of the Cubs hit it in the 9th inning. And a swing and a miss, and 3 in a row now, all struck out by Myers.
Here's the Nissan American League scoreboard for you. Oakland over Milwaukee 7-2 in the 6th inning. The Yankees at the stadium leading Detroit in that hard-fought series 7-2. In the 7th, Toronto over Baltimore 4-1. Boston over Cleveland 4-1 in the 7th. Kansas City shutting out Chicago 5-0 in the 6th. Seattle at Texas, Minnesota, or rather Texas at Seattle, Minnesota and California later.
And Sid Bream, the batter, and he tops one out in front of the catcher. It's picked up by Randy Myers. The throw to first base retires the side in order. And the score at the end of 7, it's the Pirates 7, the New York Mets 6. Now here's a word from Nissan. Top of the 8th inning. And for the Mets, it's going to be Mackey Sasser to lead off. Mets trailing by a score of 7-6. Jeff Robinson on the mound. And for the Mets, it'll be Sasser, Dykstra, and a pitcher scheduled to bat, but action in the bullpen for the New York Mets. Sasser, a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, drove in a run with a sacrifice fly to left. Mackey staying in the ball game as Gary Carter started that inning off with a single and was taken out for a pinch runner. And Sasser takes the first pitch, a called strike.
Mets have 2 going in the bullpen as you look at what Jeff Robinson has done and done often this year.
And it's grounded foul down the first base side, out of play. Jeff tied for first in innings pitched last year with Lance McCullers with 123 in the 3rd innings. He has really been a workhorse. And it's up the middle and a base hit. So Sasser comes through with a base hit. As he leads off here in the 8th inning, the Mets need him 1 to tie.
Mackey drove in a run his first time up in the 6th inning with a sacrifice fly, and here he leads off the 8th by getting on base and giving the Mets an opportunity, putting that tying run aboard.
So that brings up Lenny Dykstra. And the book, of course, says that you don't bunt on the road to tie up a ball game or try to sacrifice.
Davey's going to have another interesting decision to make because Myers is scheduled up 3rd. He has both Rick Aguilera and Gene Walter throwing in the bullpen right now. So a lot of what happens is going to depend on what Dykstra does here.
Mania, the 3rd baseman, is in looking for the bunt. Dykstra with a double and 3 official at-bats also has walked. Lenny asks for time and gets it from home plate umpire Charlie Williams. The Mets have come from behind in the 7th inning to win 14 ball games this year. And the fastball taken outside, and obviously Dykstra was not about to sacrifice, but he is still in at 3rd. Dykstra, of course, always a threat to try and bunt for a base hit. Sasser not being held on at first as you look at Bonilla, the 3rd baseman. Bream, the first baseman, a couple steps behind the bag. And this pitch is popped up in foul territory. It'll be out of play. Mike LaValliere, the catcher. Gold Glove catcher last year, batted .300. Part of that great trade by Sid Thrift that saw the Pirates obtain the services of Mike Dunn, the pitcher, who was the National League Rookie Pitcher of the Year, and also Andy Van Slyke, who became the most popular Pirate. All for Tony Pena. .7-6 Pirates. And the ball call. The count 2 balls, 1 strike. It was a walk to Lenny Dykstra by Barry Jones who got Robinson in the ball game in the 6th inning. 2-1 to Dykstra. And a ground ball by Bill Robinson, the first base coach, who was a player for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Bill, the last man to hit 3 home runs in 1 ball game until Darnell Coles hit 3 against the Cubs for the Pirates.
Robbie was a pretty popular player here in Pittsburgh and had a couple of very fine years.
Two and 2 the count to Dykstra. And this ball hit hard to right field. Coming up on it, though, is R.J. Reynolds, and he takes it 1 away, and Sasser back to first.
It looks like Mookie Wilson is going to pinch hit for Randy Myers.
Randy doing a fine job in relief, coming in the ball game with the Mets behind. That might be the first time he's been brought in with the Mets behind this year. Randy with a record of 5 wins, no losses, and 11 saves. He pitched to 4 batters and struck out 3. So it's going to be Mookie Wilson as a pinch hitter. Mets need a run to tie.
Mookie hitting .256, 2 homers, 15 RBIs. As a pinch hitter this year, Mookie hitting .300. You see Randy Myers, batting helmet in hand. Mookie's 3 for 10 as a pinch hitter with 2 pinch hit RBIs. Randall Kay with 3 Ks in an inning and a third.
So a conference at the mound as Mookie waits to hit. Right from the start of the season.
Actually, you can take that back to the second half of last season.
Finished the second half or the last part of last season with 27 wins in their last 38 ball games. And they started off this year with a record of 11-2. Their best start since 1962. And this ball gets by Mookie and is blocked nicely by Lavalier, and that was a big play right there. The Mets with a tying run at first. Lavalier having quite a night tonight.
Boy, he has only had one get by him, and that was the wild pitch that hit out in front of the plate. Watch this. Mike doesn't really know where this ball goes, but he blocks it well enough to where it's close enough for him to recover and keep Sasser at first. Good play.
And Mookie hits it hard right on the line to Sid Bream, who goes to the bag with a double play that ends the inning. 1 hit, no one left. The score at the end of 7.5 innings. The Pirates 7 and the New York Mets 6. Now here's a word from Busch Beer. The new pitcher for the Mets. He has a record of no wins, no losses. He has no saves. This will be his 16th game. He has worked 12 1/3 innings, giving up 15 hits, walking 7 and striking out 11. So Gene Wilder, the new pitcher for the New York Mets, have just put on the scoreboard that the 3-game series has drawn 127,000 people. The largest series, you see the 127 plus change of 717, a 3-date series record here at Three Rivers Stadium. And the season attendance is 902,806. Back in 88, I should say 87, they drew 634,000 on this date. In 1960, when they set their all-time attendance record, their attendance after 40 games was 940,245. So the Pirates are packing them in. And here to tell you about it, a man who came from Pittsburgh along the way from many other cities, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks, Ralphie. I did work here once about 10 years ago. And of course, the fans here not only coming out in droves, but they are coming out with enthusiasm. They have really recaptured baseball fever here in what has been predominantly a football town. The Steelers, Ralph, have sold out for like 20 straight years, and the Pirates only a few years ago drew a total for the whole season of about 780,000 fans. So they have come back strong. Mike Lavalier, the bottom of the order, here in the bottom of the 8th inning for Pittsburgh against Gene Walter, as Lavalier takes a strike. And then he grounds one right back to Gino, who knocks it down and throws him out 1 away. Pittsburgh leading 7-6 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Walter, the 4th pitcher of the night, as David Cohn started, went 5. Terry Leach went 2/3, and then Randy Myers an inning and a third.
And Leach, the pitcher record on the losing side of this ballgame.
Rafael Belliard has walked, singled, and walked, and scored twice.
The Mets' inability to keep him off the bases has really hurt the Mets in this ballgame.
He takes high and away, ball 1. He's been a thorn in the Mets side all year long. Of course, the Mets and the Pirates haven't played that many games yet. But Belliard's been a factor almost every day. There's a base hit to right field. He's 2 for 2 and on base for the 4th straight time.
Well, Belliard picks up his 7th hit in 15 at-bats against the Mets this year. And here in this ball game, he's also had 2 hits and 2 walks. So he is on once again. He has scored 2 runs.
1 out. Belliard at first.
Jay Reynolds, the batter. Reynolds struck out his first time up in the 6th inning. And he misses the breaking ball for strike one. Reynolds entering the game as a double switch was made by Jim Leland. Darnell Coles had started in right field. Belliard. Belliard with only one stolen base in 3 attempts. Time is called. Charlie Williams, the home plate umpire, signaling that something apparently came out of the stands in left center field. It is a ball that apparently got thrown onto the field, so Kevin McReynolds fires it into the New York bullpen. A rubber ball. I believe people throw stuff on the field during a ball game. Off the mound, a base hit to center field. Belliard with a turn holds at second as Dykstra gets to it quickly, and the Pirates are coming right back with 2 base hits to put runners at first and second and 1 out.
Well, the hits are all even at 10 apiece in this game. And Reynolds right up the middle with that drive that hits the mound, slows up a bit, but not enough for a play. Dykstra hustles on the play, gets it in close, and Belliard has to stop at second.
Had it bounced over the mound rather than bouncing off the mound, Elster might have had a play on the ball. He was shaded toward the middle, cheating for the double play. Barry Bonds, 0 for 2, has also walked twice. Strike one. Tried to get a hold of that guy with the horn. Do that in his ear for a while. A weak hack, and it's 0-2.
The Mets have had a lot of trouble in this series with the fans. In last night's ball game, Roger McDowell was doused with a cold beverage as he was in the bullpen. There was all kinds of debris thrown into the bullpen, and also they had to stop the game because of that.
Well, most of the fans are great. And even in a town where they're having a renaissance, I guess there are some leftover Neanderthals. This is the town, remember, where they once threw flashlight batteries at their own players on the field. Bonds pops it up. Johnson squeezes it on the mound for the second out of the inning. As the runners hold at first and second with 2 away.
Infield fly called on that, so the batter would be automatically out, and the runners can advance at their own risk. The Cobra was the man that got all that debris thrown at him.
Barry Bonds displaying his displeasure, and Jose Lean gets a standing ovation here at Three Rivers after driving in 4 runs in this ball game with 2 two-out base hits, and there are 2 out right now with a runner in scoring position as Lean takes a fastball for strike 1.
He had not driven in a run against the Mets until this game.
He now has 31 RBIs on the year, batting second for the most part. Then he fouls it off for strike 2. Jose up there with 2 out and a runner in scoring position for the 3rd consecutive time in this game. The only time the Mets have gotten him out, his first 2 at-bats, he was up there and there was only 1 out. Maybe that's the secret.
Got on base with a 2-run single to center and then scored when Van Slyke put the Pirates up in the 5th inning, and then he, after the Mets had taken the lead, single up the middle to put the Pirates up by 1 in the 6th.
This one, right to Tuffle at second, and Lean thrown out, so he couldn't do it 3 times in a row. The Pirates lead 2 here in the 8th inning, but they still lead by 1 going to the 9th.
It's 7-6 Pittsburgh. We're back after this for the good old skies. Well, there's a great shot of a beautiful full moon on a cool but clear night in Pittsburgh. You can almost see the footprints of the astronauts. So that shot right there. And on in the ninth, the closer for the Bucks, Jim Gott.
Cobb with a record of 4-2. He has 9 saves, an earned run average at 2.75. This will be his 30th game. He has worked 36 innings, given up 30 hits, allowed 3 home runs while walking 10 and striking out 18. He closed the first game of this series by striking out Kevin McReynolds.
He will face the heart of the New York order. 7-6 Pittsburgh in the ninth. It's McReynolds, Strawberry, and Johnson. Fastball right in there for strike one. McReynolds tonight 1 for 3 plus a walk. He had an RBI base hit in the 5th inning. Strike 2. McReynolds disagrees. But Gott with a big 2-strike advantage. John Cangelosi has been inserted in left field for Barry Bonds for defense here in the ninth. Breaking ball driven into the gap in left center. Van Slyke gets there. Andy Van Slyke runs it down, and there's 1 out in the 9th inning.
Well, Jim Leland, the manager of the Pirates, said that Andy Van Slyke is the best center fielder in the National League. He got a great jump on that ball, a haul in the line drive by McReynolds for 1 away.
Now the batter, Darryl Strawberry, and the chance of Darryl. Strawberry 0 for 4 has struck out twice.
Put the Mets up yesterday in a victory for the Mets with a 2-run home run.
Fastball for strike 1. And Jim Gott has yet to throw a ball. 4 pitches in the strike zone. Down low, 1-1.
Mets have won 12 games this year in their last at bat.
They are trailing with 1 out and nobody on in the 9th inning, 7-6. The Pirates trying to move within 3.5 games. Fouled off.
Well, Darryl had a very good pitch to hit out of here.
See the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for New York have not done a whole lot tonight. Reynolds' base hit was an RBI.
Well, here's the last pitch to Darryl. He put a good move on it. Fastball right in his alley, and he fouled it back out of play.
LaValliere with a conference on the mound with Gott. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Strawberry. Getting under it, 2 away. It was Jim Gott who closed out Monday night's ball game, a 1-run Pirate victory, 2-1. And he's trying to do the same thing here with just about as much noise as was being made on that occasion. 2 out, nobody on in the 9th for Howard Johnson. Ojo 0 for 4 has struck out twice and grounded out twice. before this series, may there have been as much noise in this ballpark for baseball. It certainly has for football, but maybe not for baseball. Strike two. No, it's high. A breaking ball, and it's 1-1.
Howard got a good call there from home plate umpire Charlie Williams.
The pitch looked pretty good. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Here's the last pitch. It's a breaking ball, and that ball really looked like a strike.
Off the end of the bat, foul outside third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, Howard Johnson and the Mets with 1 strike remaining, and LaValliere out to talk to Jim Gott as Jim Leland, Ray Miller, and Gene Lamont look on rather casually. Jim Gott, the acquisition from the San Francisco Giants, and the Pirates have a lot of thanking to do to the Giants for much of what their pitching staff has done.
Mets have never gotten a run off Gott since he joined the Pirates. Last year in 8 innings, he gave up no earned runs and struck out 8.
Jim trying to nail down his 10th save of the year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. High and deep to right. Way back. Reynolds at the wall. It is gone. Howard Johnson ties the game with 2 out in the 9th inning. It is now 7-7.
Well, Howard stood at home plate. He never went down the line. He knew it was gone. And Gott gives up his 4th home run of the year, and the Mets have tied it here in their last at bat in the 9th inning with 2 men out, as Howard Johnson gets his 2nd home run of the series, his 14th home run of the year. And we'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Gott comes in with a fastball right here, right in Johnson's alley. And it was just a matter of how long it would take to clear that right field fence.
Tim Tuffle the batter, and Tuffle takes low ball 1. 7-7. 9th inning on a 2-out home run by Howard Johnson. The strike called, 1-1 to Tuffle. Tuffle tried to bunt his way on, was thrown out by the pitcher Robinson in the 7th. Breaking ball for strike 2, 1-2. Gott knew he'd made a mistake when he threw the pitch to Johnson, and when Johnson swung, Gott was already off the ground in anticipation of disaster. And his anticipation proved to be correct. Slider down low, 2-2. Johnson's 2-out homer here in the 9th keeps things alive. It is 7-7. We will go to the bottom half of the 9th inning after this for MetLife. Had so many big late inning home runs for the Mets with a 2-out, 2-strike home run to keep the game alive.
1 strike away from the Pirates winning the ball game, and Johnson takes his fastball over the right field fence to tie it at 7. Now Gene Walter will be pitching to the man who had a home run earlier. As you look at Howard Johnson, Andy Van Slyke will be the leadoff batter for the Pirates.
Here in the bottom of the 9th, Van Slyke, Bonilla, and then Jim Gott, the pitcher, scheduled up 3rd. A 7-7 tie. Van Slyke tonight, 1 for 4. His only hit was that 2-run homer in the 5th inning. Strike 1. Andy does not fare well
by and large against left-handed pitching.
Coming into this game, he was hitting .202 against left-hand pitching and .335 against right-hand pitching.
And another weak swing at the sweeper. So it's 0-2. Outside. You can see Walter and Sasser working gradually farther and farther outside in an effort to get Van Slyke to keep chasing. But Andy laid off. Low in the dirt. 2-2. Grounded foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Gene Walter working his second inning of relief. He gave up 2 base hits in the 8th, but pitched out of it as the Pirates had runners at first and second with 1 out. They got Bonds to pop out and leaned to ground out.
Mets have used 4 pitchers in this game.
And ball 4 gets away from Sasser. Van Slyke can run, but he won't be able to advance any farther than first. But the winning run is on base for the Pirates with nobody out here in the 9th inning. And that'll bring up Bobby Bonilla, who has homered in this game, his 17th of the year, and is 1 for 3.
Van Slyke with 11 stolen bases, a man you really don't want on. Bonilla, the batter, coming up after the walk. And Bonilla, a switch hitter. And he has homered in this game.
Down low, ball 1. Bonilla is in the top 10 of the National League statistics in 12 separate categories. He is having a tremendous year. Low again, ball 2. Outside, ball 3. 3-0 to Bonilla. Van Slyke at first. He walked to lead off the inning. Angelosi on deck. Two walks in a row. The winning run moves 90 feet closer down to second. And Davy Johnson out of the dugout. You're watching Mets Baseball 88 on WWOR TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Roger McDowell will be summoned from the bullpen with John Cangelosi, the hitter. So Gene Walter leaves with 2 aboard and nobody out of the 9th of a 7-7 tie. And we're back after this for Busch Beer.
In the difficult position of having the winning run at second base with no one out. He comes into the game with a record of 3 wins and 1 loss, an earned run average of 2.49. He's walked 16, struck out 18, given up 36 hits in 43 and a third innings. And he picked up his 8th save in yesterday's ball game against the Pirates.
John Cangelosi hitting just 167. As you look at Sid Thrift in the executive level, the man who has orchestrated this renaissance of Pittsburgh baseball. Cangelosi, no home runs, 3 RBIs, bunting, foul. It would have been a very difficult play for Howard Johnson to get Cangelosi at first, and no chance to get Van Slyke at third, and the ball stayed fair. Gene Walter on the line as the potential loser of this game, as he's responsible for Van Slyke at second.
2 walks by Terry Leach set it up in the 6th inning for the Pirates to get 2 runs to take the lead. That's tied it in the top of the 9th and a home run by Howard Johnson, and then 2 walks to start the inning by Gene Walter here in the bottom half of the 9th.
Cangelosi bunting again. McDowell goes to third in time to get Van Slyke, who takes out Johnson. No chance for Johnson really to make any kind of a throw, whether or not Van Slyke took him out, and Andy may have hurt himself in the process as he's walking rather gingerly. 1 out and a big one, getting the lead runner at third.
And a good play by Roger McDowell. He is quick as a cat off the mound. The bunt is not a good bunt. He's got to make the third baseman field the ball, but McDowell taking the ball, firing to third base where Howard Johnson gets dumped, but he makes the play there for the force play, and the Pirates don't move their runners up.
The potential winning run still at second base, now in the person of Bobby Bonilla, as Van Slyke is attended to on the bench by Kent Biggerstaff, the trainer of the Pirates. Here is Sid Bream, who is 1 for 4, and he takes the ball. Sid had a base hit back in the 2nd inning. Since then, he has flied deep to right and grounded out twice.
Sid was the player of the week, the co-player of the week last week, along with Will Clark.
Base hit right field. Here comes Bonilla. Strawberry up and firing, and Bonilla held at third. Bonilla rounded and then retreated as Gene Lamont put the brakes on, and Strawberry rifled it home. So the bases are loaded with 1 out.
Well, Sid comes through with a big base hit, and it looked like the Pirates had it. Bonilla coming around third. Strawberry charges. He has that strong arm, and the brakes are put on as the third base coach, Gene Lamont, says stay, and he does. Good throw home. And a good play by Sasser. He handles a very difficult hop.
Now here is Mike LaValliere, who has doubled in 4 trips and scored a run. Bases loaded.
Mets are playing their infield back at short and second for the double play.
The outfield very, very shallow, as anything hit high enough in the air and deep enough to score the run is academic. But the infield looking for the double play as LaValliere does not run well. Bonilla carrying the winning run at third with 1 out and the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th. 7-7 tie. Check swing, roller to third. Johnson comes home. The force play gets Bonilla. And the bases remain loaded now with 2 out. As the Pirates again can't push the run across.
A good selection by Howard Johnson. The ball not hit hard enough to get the double play. So Howard has the option and comes home and gets the force play as Sasser stays on the base. And Bonilla is out at home.
Roger McDowell trying to pitch out of a tremendous jam. He inherited runners at first and second and nobody out. Bases are loaded now with 2 out. Cangelosi now representing the winning run at third base. And the batter, the pesky Rafael Belliard, who squared but took the pitch low and away. Pesky may be an understatement when it comes to Belliard and what he's done against the Mets.
Well, that was not a suicide squeeze play. The runner has to be coming all the way. Belliard moving into bunting position, hoping to bunt for a base hit to get the winning run in on that first pitch. A strike on the inside corner, 1-1. And
Mets outfield now with 2 out can move back to a more normal depth. You can see that Belliard has been very tough with runners in scoring position. 2 for 2 tonight, plus 2 walks and 2 runs scored. Hitting .500 this year against the Mets. The sinker is down low, 2-1. New York trying to get the final out and send the game to extra innings.
That's an extra inning ball games with a record of 7-1. Pirates are 6-2 in extra inning games.
A strike, and it's 2-2 to Belliard. Gene Walter's base runners have both been erased. On force plays, Van Slyke at third and Bonilla at the plate. So Cangelosi, the winning run at third, belongs to Roger McDowell. 2-2 with the bases loaded. A grounder to second, Tuffle to first, in time, and will go to extra innings as Roger McDowell pitches out of a tremendous jam in the ninth. 7-7 after 9 in Pittsburgh. The 10th is coming up after this for Michelob.
15. We got this game won.
Yeah, you guys are buying a light beer from Miller.
Yeah, nice Philly.
1 out to go.
Yeah, what can he do to us now?
Hey, keep the change. Here's Rodney.
Any pinch hitters left? Here I am.
Come on, Lee!
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, wait a minute. This game isn't over yet. I caught that ball.
We'll lead it off for the Mets. We're in the top of the 10th inning, and here with us again, Tim McCarver.
How you doing, Ralphie?
Well, this has been some sort of ball game, Ed.
Hey, I had a chance to shave, shower, the whole bit.
Very nice.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it, of course, but I had a chance to. What a zany affair we've had tonight.
It has been that kind of a night, so the full moon fits right in as Dave Magadan takes for ball 1. Magadan in this ball game, 2 for 2 with 2 walks. And a line drive to left field. Cangelosi right there, and he takes the line drive for the out.
I'll tell you what, Ralph, it's not only important that the Mets win this game, it's that they win it in a hurry. They only have Rick Aguilera left in the bullpen, and he's supposed to be the scheduled starting pitcher on Friday night unless it's going to be Terry Leach. If Aguilera gets into this game, it could be Terry Leach. Lee Mazzilli, the only hitter available other than Barry Lyons. So, and then there was one, and there's Aggie.
And the Mets with a doubleheader against Houston on Friday night. So this might change all the plans of Davy Johnson as you look at Kevin Elster take the first pitch. Strike 1. Elster with a home run, a double, a walk, and a strikeout. 2-run home run in the third. He doubled in a run in the fourth. So he's had 3 RBIs. Jim Gott on the mound, and the breaking ball taken for a ball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gott came in the game in the 9th inning, got the first 2 batters, had a count of 1 and 2 for the final out of the ball game on Howard Johnson. And Johnson hit a home run, his 14th of the year, to tie it up. And here we are in the top of the 10th inning as Roger McDowell bailed Gene Walter out with some fine pitching. Again, the curveball, 2-1. Roger having 2 good performances against the Pirates in this series. Last night's ball game, he went 1 inning, struck out 2.
Earned his 8th save in doing so.
This ball hit into right center field. A long run for Van Slyke. He is over there. He makes a sliding catch, and that is one of the great ones. Andy Van Slyke with another outstanding play in the outfield. This almost unbelievable.
Tommy Agee's catch into right center in the '69 series. Watch this play by Van Slyke. Ball tailing away from him. What a jump he got on the ball. And he makes it about the only way he can. That had triple at least written all over it. Those long strides. Oh, my. Great play by Van Slyke.
Oh, what a play that was, and it kept Elster from getting at least a 3-base hit.
Yeah, if that ball rattles around out there, you don't know what might happen.
Mackey Sasser, the batter. Mackey had a run batted in as a pinch hitter on a sacrifice fly. He also singled in the 8th inning, so he's perfect tonight, 1 for 1. Fouls off the fastball, strike 1. Earlier in the ball game, we saw a great play by Darnell Coles taking an extra base hit away from Gary Carter in right field. Dykstra made a great play in the ball game in the 1st inning, taking an extra base hit away from Barry Bonds as he crashed into the fence. And that's strike 2. Two men away. Top of the 10th inning, 7-7 game. And the breaking ball for a ball, 1-2. Gott will be the leadoff batter for Pittsburgh.
And for that reason, Bob Kipper is warming now for the Pirates. So we'll have a pinch hitter, one would imagine, for Jim Gott.
Gott a good hitting pitcher. He had 2 home runs in 1 ball game. That ball pulled foul by Sasser. He's hit 4 home runs in his major league career.
He's still a pitcher.
Only
nice try.
Only just laying it out there, that's all. He asked me to do that. 11 hits for each side, 7 runs for each side, 2 men out. And that breaking ball slips out of his hand. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Gott came into this game with a record of 4-2 and 9 saves. He has been outstanding for the Pirates. Picked him up for $50,000 from the San Francisco Giants on a waiver price. And a foul ball. So the count remains at 2-2. Hard-fought ball game here tonight. Changing back and forth, and this ball again fouled, so the count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Mackey gets a fastball inside part of the plate. He can drive that ball a long way. He is a good fastball hitter. Got a lot of wiggle in his bat.
Pirates play him straight away. They know him well. He was in their organization as well as the Giant organization. This ball hit out to center field. Van Slyke, another quick jump and back to the warning track to haul it in. So the Mets go in order, but a great play to get Elster out. And the score at the end of 9.5 innings, the Mets 7, the Pirates 7. Now here's a word from Michelob. Well, R.J. Reynolds, the pitcher, and Jose Lean are scheduled up for the Pirates here in the bottom half of the 10th inning. Reynolds came in the ball game back in the 6th inning, struck out his first time up, single up the middle his second, now batting for the 3rd time, and Roger McDowell throws a fastball that's fouled back out of play. 7-7 the game, both sides with 11 base hits. Some spectacular defense, no errors by either team. And McDowell back to R.J. Reynolds, and it's a ball. So the count 1 ball, 1 strike. The 5th pitcher used by the Mets. And the Pirates have used 5. Ground ball to Tuffle, the second baseman. 1 away. So So 1 away here in the bottom half of the 10th, and the batter coming up will be a pinch hitter for the pitcher, Jim Gott. It's going to be Mike Diaz.
Diaz 6 for 9 lifetime as a pinch hitter against the Mets. Now he has 3 home runs as a pinch hitter against the Mets with 13 RBIs in 9 at-bats. And one of those home runs, if he can ever get that donut off his bat, he'll be the hitter. There, let the strong guy do it, Van Slyke said. One of those home runs against Roger McDowell as a pinch hitter.
So Mike Diaz, who played as a starting player in last night's ball game, was 0 for 3. Batting with the ball game tied at 7. Diaz with 5 home runs and 20 runs batted in against the Mets in his major league career. Diaz hit 3-run pinch hit home runs off of Roger McDowell, Sid Fernandez, and Doug Sisk. And Roger missing with a fastball, 2 balls, no strikes. Roger came in the game in the 9th inning with 2 runners on and got out of the jam. And the fastball is hit foul. 2 balls and 1 strike.
One danger hitter in this lineup for McDowell is Andy Van Slyke. Van Slyke had 3 homers in 2 days against Roger last year at Shea. So he certainly does not want to see Van Slyke up there in a situation that could hurt him.
Two and 1 the count. And now 3-1. Diaz a very strong hitter. The problem with him is finding a place to play. He has caught, he has played first, he has played the outfield. None of them well. And he goes after the 3-1 pitch and grounds it foul. 3-2. Year, Diaz for the season hit .387 against the Mets, and he takes for ball 4, and that puts the winning run on with 1 man out here in the bottom half of the 10th inning. That is the 8th walk issued by Mets pitchers in this game, the first by McDowell. And it brings up Jose Lean, who has been the batting star of the ball game with 2 hits that drove in 4 runs.
Mike Dunn's going to be the pinch runner for Mike Diaz. Well, I'll tell you, you put the 2 of them together, and I bet Dunn can't outrun him that much, and you hate to see a starting pitcher as a pinch runner. I question that move.
There have been a lot of pitchers that have injured themselves and ended careers as pinch runners.
That's right.
They're not used to running, and this ball hit in the air to center. Dykstra right there. And Jose Lean is out on 1 pitch. So 2 men away. And the dangerous Andy Van Slyke coming up.
Howard Dade Magadan, I played Dunn at first base almost like you would if there's nobody on. No way can he hold him on. Now, he's holding him on right there. You don't even need to be told that. The pitcher's on first base. Van Slyke's a pull hitter.
He should be asking the Mets at this point whether they want him on the bag or in back. Van Slyke, of course, has the ability to hit extra base hits. He's had 11 triples.
I just cannot believe he's holding Mike Dunn, the pitcher, on with Van Slyke batting.
Van Slyke takes the first pitch for ball 1. Van Slyke in this ball game with a home run and 4 at-bats. He has struck out twice. Magadan holding against the runner at first.
The runner is a pitcher. He's a starting pitcher and represents a winning run. It's all mood, I guess.
It's this academic now as if Tuffo fields the ball and picks up the force play at second. We go to the 11th. The score at the end of 10, the Mets 7 and the Pirates 7. Now here's a word from Busch Beer.
As a relief pitcher, everybody thought I had it easy. See Pat here? He'd pitch his heart out for 8 innings or so, and then I'd come in, toss 3 or 4 pitches, and walk away with a win. But I had to train just like the rest of us. Yeah, well, I still like to keep in shape, and I drink light beer from Miller. See, light's less filling, and light really tastes great. Will you just let me finish? Why? You never let me finish.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Let me finish that for you, Sparky.
Kipper, the new pitcher for the Pirates, comes in with a record of 1 win, 1 loss, and no saves. This will be his 29th ball game. Kipper with an earned run average of 4.20. He's walked 11, struck out 17, given up 31 hits in 30 innings of work. The 6th pitcher used by the Pirates, the Mets have used 5, and it will be Len Dykstra to lead it off, and coming in once again, Tim McCarver.
All right, Ralphie, thank you very much. I'm just trying to figure out what pitchers the Pirates have left. Yeah, that'll tell us. Well, Bob Kipper and Roger McDowell. Now, the Mets do have Rick Aguilera left, but Davey Johnson does not want to use Aguilera because he'd prefer to have Aguilera start on Friday. Grounded sharply to Jose Lean. Say sharply, it broke his bat. That bat may have had a hairline fracture before he made contact. 1 out, and sure enough, the batter, Roger McDowell. So as we said last inning, the Mets not only have to win this game, but they need to win it quickly. Brian Fisher, who started last night's game, is down in the bullpen now. Looks like Doug Drabeck down there also. So the Mets need a quick run. McDowell can hit. But he swings and misses. 0-1 to Roger. 7-7 game, top of the 11th inning.
McDowell's been up 4 times this year, and he has 1 base hit.
How about the scoreboard now? 7-11, huh? One team's trying to get lucky. A liner down the right field line, and may fall, and it does. McDowell's going to go at least to second, and he holds up there with a double. Told you could hit, Ralph.
Now you don't have to say for a pitcher. Oh, McDowell is a good hitting pitcher, no doubt about it, and he hits this double down the right field line, and this ball is well hit. A fastball out of the way. And R.J. Reynolds out there has a little difficulty playing it off the ball, but does get it back in as Roger goes for 2.
So now you have an interesting situation. Top of the 11th inning, a 7-7 game, and Kevin McReynolds the batter. Darryl Strawberry on deck. McReynolds 1 for 4 on the night with a walk and an RBI single back in the 5th inning. Line base hit, left field. Cangelosi bobbles the ball. Here comes McDowell. Mets lead it 8-7. McReynolds to second. I don't believe it.
Oh, right here, Cangelosi really helps the Mets out. He's got to play at the plate. There's no way in the world McDowell can score. He does charge it. He's thinking of the throw home, but now he can't pick it up, and he can't pick it up, and he can't pick it up, and he can't pick it up. Look at this. He still hasn't picked it up. A run scores. The Mets take the lead by a score of 8-7. Look at this. That's 2. That's 3. Now he's about to say, what's going on here? And he does on the 4th try get it, but on the 4th try allows McReynolds to get down to second base.
Strawberry. Fastball outside. So what you're trying to say is that Kenja lost it.
Boy, he's got to change his name now. That'll make the highlight film, that's for sure.
Strawberry 0 for 5. 8-7 New York. Brother. Howard Johnson's dramatic 1-2 pitch that Jim Gott got inside with 2 out and nobody on. Howard drove it deep to right field for a home run. That tied it. And now Roger McDowell doubles and Kevin McReynolds singles. 8-7 New York. Way outside, 3 balls and no strikes to Strawberry. And the on-deck batter, Howard Johnson. What a turn of events. Recall of that might make this week in baseball, too. That was wonderful. There's a strike on the corner.
Well, it sounds a little cruel, but at the same time, he was trying to make the play, and he was doing everything he could to make the play, and it just didn't work. But you got to give him credit for the hustle and the try.
No, there was no cruelty involved, I don't think. He just lost it. Kanja lost it. Outside, so Strawberry's going to draw base on balls. Len Dykstra led off the 11th, grounding out to second. And that 7-11 is lucky for the Mets so far. Howard Johnson, with that dramatic home run, his 14th of the year. In the 9th inning, with 2 outs and nobody on, tied it. 8-7 New York. Outside and high, ball 1. Tim McCarver along with Ralph Kiner and Steve Zabriskie happily bringing you Mets baseball your way on WWOR. What a game we have seen tonight. Deep to left field, but Van Slyke is over and under it, and he makes the play. Boy, he covers a lot of ground out there. Man. Second baseman, so Bob Kipper now has 2 outs to work with, and Tim Tuffle is the batter. Tuffle 0 for 2 since entering the game in the 7th inning.
That was Van Slyke's 7th putout in this ball game, and of course they made that great catch out there just an inning before against Kevin Elster.
Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Outside, ball 1. Or you get to the end of the season, and if you win a game like this, in the fashion that the Mets have done it, without Keith Hernandez, you look back on it as one of the key games of the season, if they can hold on in the bottom of the 11th. Pirates will have Bobby Bonilla, John Cangelosi, and Sid Bream as their hitters. 2 of the 3 very tough outs. Fly ball deep to right center, but playable. R.J. Reynolds over, and he makes the play. But the Mets score a run on a couple of hits. There was 1 error by the Pirates, the only error of the game, as a matter of fact. We go to the bottom of the 11th. It's 8-7 New York, and we're back after this. The Mets a long way from having this one under their belt. They lead by 1, and Bobby Bonilla, who has 17 home runs, is the batter. Bobby is homered in this game. He is homered in 2 consecutive games against New York. It's 8-7. And the fella who scored the go-ahead run is on the mound, Roger McDowell, after doubling in the 11th. Grounder foul, just foul. McDowell entered the game in the 9th inning with runners at first and second. Cangelosi tried to bunt Bonilla and Van Slyke over. Van Slyke was forced at third, and then after a single by Sid Bream, and Gene Lamont, the third base coach, held Bonilla at third base. And then with the bases loaded and one out, Mike LaValliere grounded into a force play, and Rafael Belliard ended it by grounding out to second. Low, ball one. 1-1 to Bonilla.
You know, Tim, it's interesting that when Sid Bream singled and they held Bonilla at third, Strawberry fielded the ball cleanly as he charged it and made a good throw home. I doubt if the runner had a chance to score. Cangelosi tried the same thing, and McDowell was sent in, and he didn't handle the ball and left. So the swing of the ball game right there.
So far, that is so true. It's 3 balls and a strike to Bonilla. Grounder, Magadan guarding the line. Boots it to McDowell. 1 out.
Well, let's check out the Nissan National League scoreboard. The action here, of course, Mets leading 8-7. Philadelphia defeated the Cubs 4-2. The Dodgers shut out Houston 2-0. San Francisco beat Atlanta 7-2. San Diego defeated Cincinnati 3-2. Montreal leading 2-1 over St. Louis in the top of the 10th inning.
So here's Cangelosi, who made that critical error in the top of the 11th. John, a good bunter, but he takes outside. You don't want this little scat back on the bases. He can fly. Sprained his wrist on May 25th, went on the disabled list, and a 6-day rehab program down in Buffalo. The fastball is high, 2 balls, no strikes. There's a strike. 2-1. 8-7 New York. Bottom of the 11th inning. The rubber game of this 3-game series. And just consider it a 2-game swing either way. The Mets lose, they're 3.5 out in front. If they win, they're 5.5 out in front. High ball 3. 3-1.
Cangelosi had 19 strikeouts as a pinch hitter, the most in the major leagues last year.
There's a strike, 3-2. Funny because he doesn't look like the type of hitter that strikes out a lot, but because he takes so much early in the count, he gets himself the hole. Low, ball 4. So Cangelosi's on there. We'll see if he tries to run.
9th walk given up by the Mets pitchers in this game as we check out the American League Nissan scoreboard. Oakland winning 7-2 over Milwaukee. Yankees beat Detroit 7-3 to avoid a sweep. Toronto 4, Baltimore 2. Final score there. Boston leading Cleveland 4-1 in the 8th inning. And it's Kansas City 9, Chicago 8 in the top of the 8th. No score, bottom half of the 6th, Texas playing in Seattle, and California 1, Minnesota 0, top of the 4th.
Here's Sid Bream. He singled off McDowell his last time up, and he takes ball 1. Sid on the night is 2 for 5. Keep an eye on Cangelosi, who is inching toward the turf. He has 1 foot on right now. Not running. Grounder towards second. Tuffle. Elster. Quickly turned, double play, and the Mets win it. Kevin Elster on his rear end made the throw. And I'll tell you, at the end of, at year's end, you're going to look back on this game, and if the Mets win it, they're going to point to this game as one of the key ball games of the year. And a bullion. Kevin Elster with some low 2s.
Boy, you're so right, though, Tim. The Mets coming from behind. They were 1 strike away from losing when Howard Johnson hit the home run to tie the ball game in the top of the 9th inning. McDowell came in to get out of a big jam, and then the Mets go on to win it as McDowell doubles and scores on his base hit by McReynolds. The double play ends it, and it's a long night, but a happy trip home for the New York Mets.
So there's the total. There are the totals on the ball game. 8-13-0 for the Mets. 7-11-1 for the Pirates. Roger McDowell, the winner, and Bob Kipper, the loser. Ralph and I will be back for the wrap-up right after this word from AT&T.